July. In a statement, the union said the government has failed to address the long-standing grievances of healthcare workers. They also accused the Council of Governors of failing to implement demands submitted on 15th June. This include improving workers' welfare, employing universal health coverage and global fund staff on permanent and pensionable terms, and issuing them with appointment letters. The unions are further demanding that all counties sign and implement the CBA, honor the return to work agreement signed on 20th January, and conclude union recognition arrangements. The union leaders, however, say they remain open to dialogue and have urged the national and county governments to fast-track negotiations to avert the strike.
They continue to refuse to give permanent and pensionable letters.
Continued refusal to resolve these disputes constitute clear violation of Labor Relation Act of 2007.
We wonder, as leaders in this country, what is the government waiting for to give or to issue PNP letters to the UHC workers? And again, the same government, we issue as public, we issued demands that we still need a centralized way of bargaining, a central way of negotiating a return to work, a recognition agreement. It has not actually responded. As we speak right now, there's no response. As we say, we are actually available for constructive engagement, no response. And as it comes on 20th, we want to tell the members of the public that the health of this country will be in jeopardy.
DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua has written to IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon, alleging that a meeting was held in Gilgil to plan the sabotage of Thursday's Olkalau parliamentary by-election. In his 8-page letter, Gachagua claims that UDA leaders, government officials, and politicians discussed ways to influence the outcome of the poll. He has called on the IEBC to publicly respond to the allegations and ensure that DCP agents receive their accreditation cards on time, polling stations open at 6 a.m. as required by law, and the vote counting process is transparent. Gachagua also alleges that there were plans to allow some voters to cast multiple ballots, delay the opening of polling stations in DCP strongholds, cut electricity during vote counting, and use plainclothes police officers to interfere with the electoral process. His remarks comes as Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka says the Olkalau by-election will test the IEBC's commitment to transparency and accountability.
Your capacity to hold a free and fair and credible general election will actually be put to test on Thursday. Kenya belongs equally to those who govern today and to those who aspire to govern tomorrow. Let us therefore choose peace over provocation, law over lawlessness, and national unity over political division. Let all state agencies, including the police and IBC, serve all equally without fear or favor. You have seen Mr. Kanja. You're deployed of 1,000. I think it's on everybody's telephone. 1,000 police have been deployed to Akalau. We pray to God that this is not another kind of election as happened in Berry North. And the country noted, UDA lost in Malaba. And we all know that. Why don't you just accept defeat?
And opposition leaders have called for an immediate end to what they describe as an escalating culture of political intolerance in the country, warning that Kenya risks sliding into anarchy if the government fails to rein in organized Gonism. The leaders emphasize that all citizens, whether in government or opposition, have a right to assemble peacefully, associate freely, and participate in political life. They condemn recent incidents where they were attacked by goons, alleging that they are part of the deliberate pattern of political intolerance. PLP leader Martha Karua called on the government to ensure the perpetrators are brought to justice.
Reports circulating in public domain indicate that confrontations occurred around a church service in Kisumu attended by opposition leaders, while separate incidents of violence were reported in Nyahururu. The full facts surrounding these incidents must be independently established through prompt, impartial, and transparent investigations. However, what is already evident is that political intolerance is steadily replacing democratic engagement.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Broadcasting worldwide, Spice FM. Online, mobile, and on radio. Facebook at Spice FM KE.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You have land, Dennis. Yeah. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it. If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around. Yeah, why? Tell me what is. Well, first of all, what's the problem? Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament, so...
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said...
The government.
Yeah, when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda mbali sana hii. So and we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now, he abandoned, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Members of parliament, they go to set house, they're just promised, they get given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did Parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts. And they say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can't run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay. Good morning, Basti. Ama?
Good morning, Nduh. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Uko salama leo asubuhi?
Sana.
Good. I thought today was Thursday. I did everything that I did after 2 p.m. yesterday, thinking that tomorrow is Thursday. Shock on me to wake up this morning and then try to look at how things are going, and it's Wednesday. So have I lost a day?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Why would you lose a day?
Mutanu's voice will never get louder than this.
No.
We've also established that EVE woke up really hungry today because I don't know what she was doing yesterday. Did she tell you?
Didn't eat.
She didn't eat yesterday. So hence this morning she wants to eat a horse or an elephant. I don't know how you're going to fit it, but something. She's holding some food in her hand actually. Then Marion, I've never actually seen eat ever.
She does.
You've seen Marion eat? Marion eat?
Yeah.
Food, like food. Oh, okay. Things you never see. And that's where we are this morning. And we've also established a number of... Today I've been on a fact-finding mission this morning.
Yeah.
And I've confirmed that Amani Isla is not from the east, but he's from the west.
Yeah.
I've also confirmed that before today, Joyline was never able to put her own hair into a ponytail.
Okay.
I've also then I've established that Bishop, who does the early morning show on Berur, looks good in a dark green. She's worn it twice this week, not the same clothes, but a different outfit in the same deep color, and I think it's just fantastic.
There is these jeans she wore last week, though. Oof.
Were they green?
They were green. Just plain.
Okay. Apple, that's just the mission that I've been on today, finding out so many things.
And another fact-finding mission is that Voke is still not here.
Well, like unaona sasa hii kazi this politics ngoja ingia hapa leo asubuhi. Voke is 6:15. I'll tell people that. Send out a memo. In fact, when Erastus Ethicon was talking yesterday, he should have called your name. Polls open at 6 a.m. on Thursday, not 6:15.
Yeah.
Voke. Anyway, that's where we are this morning. Confirming that everybody's doing okay. That's my way of greeting everybody once. Now, you see, if you can't see them, I'll give you a little bit of information. About them. So that you get to know who they are and how they are. If you eat those hunger pangs, we'll deal with them. She's dealing with them properly. Good morning, everybody. Our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And a very good morning to everybody who tunes in to the Situation Room this Wednesday. It's Hump Day, getting into the second part of the week. And karibuni sana. Our audience on KTN, thank you for being here with us this morning as we get into things proper. We're going to have a couple of conversations. Let me let you know what those will be. Is it still cold?
Relatively.
Not
it's
really.
14 degrees, no? But it's going to warm up to around 19, 20.
Let's see. It's not too bad today, actually. So, yay. Yeah, it's about 13 this morning. And that's in Nairobi. And it's probably
Timboroa. I must go to this Timboroa place. Let me experience this cold that everybody makes noise about. That they have to wear that thing that I love the way Evelyn says, Boshori.
It's just another way of saying a beanie.
A Marvin. Okay. I want to go to Timboroa.
I'll take you.
Oh, yeah?
Let's go.
Road trip.
On our way to Eldoret.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Timboroa, Burnt Forest, Cheptiret. That would be where Ken Mijung went to school.
Okay, that's a random piece of information.
School of Law. Yeah, it's actually called, there's a name. And then from there, now you get to Kapsoya. You are in Eldoret town.
Okay, sure. I want to experience that cold. I really do. Then I can, tick that off my bucket list. So I remember being in, going through Nanyuki, and that was one day, it was so foggy, you couldn't see. Your headlights were actually illuminating the next inch in front of you. That's the kind of weather I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the place is called Annex.
Annex.
Yes.
How original. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Once again, let me tell you what we'll be talking about today. Macharia Njeru used to be on the Judicial Service Commission as the deputy. Ngoja kwanza, if I just want to make sure that I'm not lying. Anyway, he used to be on the he used to be on the Judicial Service Commission. He is an advocate of the High Court and is also quite involved in matters politics and I insist on good governance. He's going to join us this morning at 7 a.m. We're going to be talking about politics, public office, and the rule of law, whether there is a separation in any of these, and that there are certain things that are going on in the country or that will be happening in the near future that then demands that we have this conversation again and again and again when it comes to the rule of law. At 8 o'clock, we will then have a conversation around All-Kalau. All-Kalau decides tomorrow, and we saw the IEBC come out yesterday and make certain statements, make certain things clear as according to them. So we'll talk about that. Has opposition put their best foot forward? We'll talk with a senator from Murang'a County, where all of this is happening, Joe Newto. We'll also, on phone, talk with the governor for Murang'a County, which is Irungo Kangata. Had a word with him yesterday, and he is recovering. His driver's recovering, but he's still asking many questions around the security of any place, not talk less about during the election period. So we'll talk with the senator and the governor of Murang'a County at 8 o'clock. And then, did you know that this month, not only might your fuel prices have gone up or down, but your electricity prices would have gone up by 5 whole Kenya shillings bob money?
Why?
Why not?
Why?
I mean, make it 300 at this rate. Just keep going, because what on earth? Inflation, fuel costs, and higher electricity costs. We usually have these conversations in isolation when we'll talk about electricity and we'll talk about fuel prices. What we're doing today is that we're going to combine those conversations because one piggybacks on another. Isaac Ntereva is the Executive Director of the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya. Martin Chomba is the Chairman of the Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya. Both of them will come and we'll have a conversation about why 5 bob and why does the increased fuel have an impact on electricity and what it means for you and me. Sawa sawa? Very good. Hapo ndio tuko. Tutasalimia watu. We are tuning in this morning. Did I say that our live streams are up? Yes, they are. On YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. So let's get into it this morning. But before we do that...
To Libya.
Yes.
Yeah. Yesterday, when we were having the conversation, there's something that Senator Okoh said, that Libya had all these interesting things that they had, things that were working out. So in terms of education, healthcare, affordable housing, affordable food, but there was not democracy for the word, because it was pretty much more of dictatorship kind of leadership that was in the country. And one asks the question, can we have both? Democracy that works with the good things that we do have. That is the model life or expectation of every other individual in the world today.
Or is there a price to be paid for it?
Exactly, yeah. But others might also say, because there was another comment as well where someone said, but if you look at the Arab world, the democracy that we enjoy in other parts of the world does not exist because it is what they've decided. That's their model of democracy. So can we have other forms of democracy that works in different jurisdictions, and we accept that that's what works?
Or just don't call it democracy.
Yeah.
Call it an alternate source of alternate form
leadership.
of government.
Yes.
I mean, just stay. Democracy sounds nice, but if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hapo ndio tuko. Tuende kwa proverb.
All right.
The heart of a fool is in their mouth. Well, the mouth of the wise is in their heart.
The heart of a fool is in their mouth, while the mouth of the wise is in their heart. Jeez. Well, I guess that, as I think about it, quick to speak without thought, but then those who are wise would think on it first or take it to heart first before you speak about certain things. Put the batteries in the brain to mouth filter, I guess.
Thank you. Repeat that again.
Put the batteries in the brain to mouth filter.
That's my interpretation.
Yeah. Let it work for you sometimes. I even thought, if you take a minute and you realize that actually, you know what, Nduh, the next things that I'm about to speak will not make sense, or they will be derogatory, or they will be unkind, or they will be laced with all the foolishness. Sing a song, even.
Yeah.
Mary had a little lamb. No, little lamb. Yes, just sing a song. You don't have to say anything and portray your stupidity, or at least not convince people that you indeed are not wise.
Most of the time, before anyone says anything, look at the end, then come back. Look at the result of what it is you're going to say, then decide whether that is the result that you want to achieve.
Yeah. Think on it.
If you're not happy with the results, then don't say it. Chillax, relax, take a chill pill, then come back later. After we've thought through it.
I agree.
Capish?
I agree.
Yeah. So let me out.
Okay, so you're tuned in this morning, and we're very glad that you are wherever you're tuned in around the region, around the country, and indeed around the world. Thank you for taking a minute to say hello and register that you're here. And even for those who go ahead listening silently, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you for us to continue to have these conversations. For the people that we meet, even outside the walls of the studio, who keep saying, come on, guys, keep going, keep having these conversations, whereby we're having intelligent conversations in the morning to be able to engage on matters that affect our lives. Please go on. We will go on. Thank you very much. Peter Kiaria says, good morning from Mombasa. Remember, a snake cannot bite you if it remains far from you. Distance yourself from certain people and watch your life flourish. Kabisa. Just you over there, spawn of Satan. Stay over there. Vesh Musanga, my goodness, it's been a while. How are you? You're tuned in from Chitimba in Malawi. Very good morning to you. It's nice to have you in the room after a very long time. I reckon that you've been listening, but we've not heard from you, so it's really nice to have you in the room today. Karibu, karibu. Robert Nyange tuned in from Bidikani in Voi. Henry says, good morning, Spice family. Hapa tuko chini kuna volcano, and volcanoes erupt because of density and pressure. Inakuja pole pole. Sisemi kitu. Umesema yote.
Umesema yote.
You said what? Hapa chini kuna volcano, and volcanoes erupt because of density and pressure. Inakuja pole pole. Yes, it does. Robert Mbogo is tuned in from Mombasa, and Simon Mwehu is tuned in and says, good morning, Spices. Good morning to you. Dan Stilagat says, good morning, Spice team. An antelope invited to a banquet by a lion must sit next to the door, which is wide open. Yes, you must, or you will be the banqueting feast.
I just don't show up. Rain check. Rain check.
Yeah.
I'm chewing
okay,
cud.
let me send my cousin.
Yeah. I'm chewing cud tonight.
Yeah. Hey, God in heaven. That's a good one, I must say, Dan Steele. Christina says, good morning to you, Christina. Karibu, karibu. Kins and Friends says, good morning, Spice family. May God guide and protect our beloved country. May He. Wakapiela Luhimbo is tuned in this morning. I was AWOL. I'm back and kicking. Karibu, karibu. Ready to learn and be informed. This is the only media I listen to in the entire region. Love you guys. Well, we love you too. And thank you for coming home. Leo says, hello, Princess Nduh and Aseto. The IEBC will have some semblance of trust or lose it all tomorrow with how they will conduct the by-election. A repeat of Malawa and Mbere will bury it. Yeah, I guess, we talk about whether it's a test, whether it's to show insights into what's going to happen in 2027. It's another big test for the IEBC to see whether you're actually up to the task.
I have a question.
Axe.
Why are we deploying 1,000 police officers to Mbere? Why are we deploying water cannons to? Why are we sending GSU?
It's like it's an act of war. It's a by-election. It's a by-election. Why are all of the... tell me why. Why?
Ain't nothing
why? Tell him that it's human nature. Why? Somebody should play that song on repeat in the office of the Ministry of Interior.
Why?
And National Administration. Michael Jackson is asking, why? Hey, then you need to tell him that it's human nature. I be what? Hey.
Anyway.
Hey. Yeah, well, that's a good question because why? Tell me why. How many why songs do we have? Sheesh. Yes, that's a good point. Beatrice Omanwa says, good morning, tuning from Dallas in Texas. And Erica War says, good morning. Leo says, the increase in price of diapers and others isn't about supporting local industries. Okay, it's not. It's a few people going to benefit as consumers suffer. Tiles were protected from import, now very expensive. Okay, I guess. Nick Bala says, good morning. That payroll saga reinforces the concern that our homeland of Kenya has enough resources to satisfy everyone's needs, but not a few people's greed as the status quo is. Okay. Daniel Churo says, the number one show in Kenya, clock it.
Yes.
The other day, a certain caller said something about the Samsung option being used here. Trump's admin should stop its attacks on ICC because it's the only remaining hope for some of us. Okay, you went into like 3 subjects there. Okay, Sawa. Mashari and Njeri says, good morning, tuned in. Nduh and Dennis, Kenyan police were told not to go to the voodoo island of Haiti. You see now how they're behaving. Wow. Okay, that's rich. Decombo says,
guys like bottles.
Hey, something is like a phenomenon. Has habari za asubuhi wangwana vushiere. Now you have spoken languages I cannot pronounce. Uhoro wa rusheni. Hey, how did I do? Wakire buya. Wamkata. Chamge nebo karon. Keja ineka Kenya ino. Oyaure. Last but not least, good morning. Well, good morning, and I'm sure I butchered all of those better than a butcher's knife.
Actually did well.
Oh, thank you so much. Bernard Ogamba says, good morning, Spice team. Spicing from Nairobi. The over-delaying to name the opposition flag bearer is giving Kasongo fair play if the recent opinion polls is anything to go by. Yeah, okay. Alan Otieno says, good morning, team. Good morning to you, Alan. Karibu. Stephen Juma is tuned in and says, have a great day ahead. Thank you very much. Isakale says, good morning, Spices. All Kalau voters were invited to State House on the eve of the election. Can you imagine? In other countries, they call it bribery. In Kenya, we call it final campaign rally with better furniture or the Last Supper.
Yeah, or empowerment or development
or bribery. I thought the guy Ethicon said that sternly warning you that Monday was the last day. Ama? Okay, I'm just putting it out there. Thanks,
Big Nico.
YouTube. I've just even lost it because YouTube is just behaving anyhow. Big Nico says, good morning, guys. And Omen. Hey. I'm coming for you. Good morning. I'm coming for you. Yes, hope you're well. Christine Okoh says, good morning, tuned in team Situation Room. Christine from the Malaba border. Very good morning to you. Karibu Kasana. Rahim Tula Omar says, good morning from Nairobi, Kenya. Transition to Haiti in progress. Oh, lo. Fiery Red says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. How are you both?
Salama.
Zach OK says, the All Kalau voters refused the State House Last Supper, I'm told. Peaceful voting, we pray. Yes, we do. Christine Wasonga says, good morning, Spice team. Wishing everybody a blessed Wednesday ahead. And this weather is deadly. Sidio? Alex Gioko says, good morning, Nduh and Dennis. Receive salams from Birunda Kitale. And Frederick Angwenyi says, good morning, Spice family. Watching from Doha. For me, I want to tour All Kalau. Even you want to go? Okay, come. Not now. You can go on like Thursday. It's Kenny. He says, good morning, great people. You spice up our mornings as usual. Just a point of info. The government started Ebola drills in Mombasa County on Monday. So the facilities are being built still. Oh, yeah. Cliff Sandy says, good morning. Thanks, Nduh and Dennis, for talking about the rise in electricity costs. Yet another pain pill for Kenyans. It's a big one, so stay tuned for that at 9 o'clock. Wanda says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto from Toronto. Toronto saw a record high temperature of 38 degrees. Feeling closer to 45. Global warming is real.
True.
Should have started to cool down by now, but that's really not happening. You guys still smack dab in the middle of summer. Let's see. Are you people not the same ones where you can throw jeans in the air in December and it freezes in the middle of the air? Yeah, that's Canada. But then now it's cold. Eric Yoga says, good morning, Aseto and Nduh has made it one name. Meanwhile, no commas, no spaces, nada. Aseto and Nduh. I'm listening from Kisumu. The only system struggling to work is the digestive system.
They have taken out food.
Oh, God. It's interesting.
Gotta like it.
I'm telling you. Also, you say it's been announced that U.S. citizens in the DRC are now barred from the U.S. and will have to spend 21 days in a third country before coming to the U.S., even if they show no signs of the disease. Well, you know what? Let America eat its own skunk. I'm sorry. Come on. Can't just be making American problems world problems. Okay. The rest of us have to deal with our issue on our own.
Yeah.
Victor Nyamoki says, good morning, tuned in from Canada. And Gekota says, good morning, my good people. Princess Nduh, Dennis, EVE. President Ruto has not said anything about the goonism that took place over the weekend. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. You see? A song is going to be applying everywhere today.
True.
Aaron Rashid says, back to listening to SpiceFM and The Situation. Good morning, everybody. Well, welcome back. We're happy to have you. Drift Session says, good morning, Spike. And Spice says, to educate a person in the mind, but not in morals, is to educate a menace to society. There's a rap group called Menace to Society. Yeah. You said, let's have a decent conversation. Okay, let's do that. I hope all Kalau will decide. I'm inviting Kenyans to watch the movie Hotel Rwanda, says Joe Mungai. Watch that movie.
Sure.
Then you can remember the space that you are in is actually a precious one. Morris Andati says, if deploying this for just a by-election, where will they get the human resources for a national election? It's a good question. Moriega, Timoru. Abi, how do you answer? Did I get it right? Good morning, SpiceFM team. Good to see you again, says Thomas Osoro. That was, by the way, being Shege before that with the lovely greeting. And Tips Muge says, good morning, SpiceFM team. Good morning, everybody. Karibu. Thank you for joining us. As you get into the room, even after this, right on all protocols observed, we have greeted you specially.
Kimiak, where are you?
Kimiak, where are you? Third day running. You know, they say that 3 days in a row, three things is a thing.
Yeah.
So, everybody, thank you for being here this morning. Karibu Sana. Let's get into these conversations together and let's keep it kosher. Let's take a look at what's happening up there and in there, and then we'll come and see what's happening in here. Sawa. It's 27-7. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
13, now warming up slightly. 14 degrees in Nairobi. We'll see a high of 24, and it's 14 and cloudy into Nakuru, while Njeri is cloudy at 15. It's 19 degrees and clear into Kisumu, while Kakamega at 16 is mostly clear. Cloudy conditions at 22 in Mombasa, while at 24 it is sunny in Malindi. 18 and sunny into Marsabit, and we're looking out into Kampala where it's cloudy at 18. And Dar es Salaam at 21 is mostly clear. We'll see a high of 28. 8 degrees and clear into Johannesburg with a high of 22 and lows of 6, I beg your pardon. And it's 26 and cloudy into Lagos with mostly cloudy conditions in London. It's 33 and sunny in Beijing, and Tuesday night in New York is clear at 29. Coming into Wednesday, we'll see a high of 34 and a low of 26.
Chilled Spice.
Sugar and spices, everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, let's take a quick look at what it's looking like on the roads this morning as you get into the city, out and about in your business today. And the Thika Superhighway says, how about I greet you this morning with a little bit of traffic, a dash of a hold up here and a hold up there. And let's see what kind of menu we're making later. Not too bad from right around the Outer Ring Junction, heading out over the drift of Survey and then through towards the Pangani Underpass. We're not looking at anything too crazy at the moment. That's why I said, a dash of traffic drove the doctor away. Does that even work? I don't know. Anyway, coming off of Mombasa Road, there's not much traffic happening here. It's smooth. North Airport Road actually doesn't have anything except for up there as you're heading towards the junction, getting into Embakasi proper. There's a little bit of traffic and it's inbound. Nothing to worry about, at least not for now. You get through that without too much of an issue. Let's see what happens as traffic develops through the morning. And we'll talk. SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag The Situation Room.
Turn up the heat with endless entertainment on Star Times. Feel every moment of the action as the biggest leagues reach their thrilling finales. Recharge your monthly subscription to unlock a world of endless drama to enjoy Novella E, now available on your Nyota bouquet. Dive into blockbuster movies with the launch of TNT, your new home of big screen hits. And for the little ones, a world of non-stop fun on Cartoon Network, now on Star Times. News, sports, drama, movies, kids, and reality all in one place. All for you. To renew your subscription, dial *858# for self-service or get in touch with our call center on 0719 077 077 for customer care. Buy a Star Times decoder at any of our dealer shops countrywide. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
A whole decade of style, flavor, and unforgettable memories. The Hub Karen is turning 10 and you're invited to the ultimate celebration. Join the Hub 10 Million Step Challenge on Saturday, July the 18th, or indulge at the Table for 10 Food Festival on Sunday, August the 2nd. Come celebrate 10 years of community and experiences. Head over to the Hub Karen today.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so at 23 into the hour, we're looking into the headlines and we're going to start on the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. And I know you're asking questions, and the question that we seem to be asking for today is why? The headline for today on The Standard, too little, too late. Tomorrow's All Kalau by-election has become a chilling dress rehearsal for the 2027 general election, with voter bribery, violence, intimidation and goon attacks exposing glaring failures by security agencies and the Electoral Commission. As IEBC promises a credible poll, an international report warns Kenya faces an 84.1% likelihood of electoral violence next year, raising fresh concerns over whether institutions can prevent the country from sliding into another democratic crisis. Somebody in the comments this morning said Kenyans should watch, I think it was John Mureithi, watch Hotel Rwanda. Watch it, because the simmerings began like that. On the front page here is in case you do not know what he looks like, this is the chairperson of the IEBC, Erastus Ethekon. He has been on your screens often this last week, on Monday, on Tuesday, and they said that they're ready. It's all systems go. But if you do anything wrong, I don't know what he said we'll do to you, but okay. Now, if there are things that are against the Electoral Code of Conduct, one of them is voter bribery. And open distribution of cash and other inducements has dominated the All Kalau campaigns, with candidates accused of using handouts to influence voters despite laws prohibiting electoral bribery. So now, if you break the law, then you are arrested and brought before a court of law.
Yeah.
Ama?
Yeah.
So now, if this is what bribery is described as in the Electoral Code and it's happening, what would you imagine that they should do?
Arrest people and take them to court.
Abi? Okay, I'm just asking because
we're just warning. If you do that again,
don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
It's like that parent says, "I'll beat you," and then it never actually happens.
Yeah.
Then the kid is like, "Yeah, right."
No.
Yeah.
Don't bribe again.
If
Wait, Electoral Code says this. Please don't do it again. Tutakosana. I will arrest you. I will charge you.
Another thing is goons.
Yes.
Organized gangs have repeatedly disrupted campaigns, intimidated voters, and attacked rivals, raising concerns over the growing use of hired goons to influence electoral outcomes. There are pictures of them. There are even security agents standing with them.
Yeah.
So you wonder, no? Okay. Number 3, violence. The by-election has already been marred by shootings, assaults, intimidation, and destruction of property, with critics accusing authorities of failing to stop escalating political violence ahead of the 2027 general election. Now, the question is, if you're not able to curtail it now, in a higher stakes event like a general election, then will you be able to do that? One must ask, because you don't ever stray far from your habitual nature. If this has already taken root, what is going to happen when it's a bigger thing? Without speaking too much English, we'll come back to that story. Now, luxury watches, art. Did you know that people buy art and put it in their houses, sculptures, paintings, and things like that? Yes, it's good.
It makes me relax in the evenings.
It does, with a cuppa. And land, top Kenya's super rich acquisition. So once you've made it, once you've made it, it would seem as though luxury watches, art, that guy is called what? Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I really like. Oh, I can't remember his name, but I'll remember in a minute. It seems those are the things now that you buy when you have very, very...
Picasso becomes your friend.
Michelangelo, that's his name. Now, status and social recognition have become increasingly important motivation for passion, asset ownership, replacing intellectual interest. Sawa. There's a report that's talking about these things. It's a 2026 wealth report, and it says that billionaires spending their money on items that give them a sense of belonging. So, like, when you become rich, before you used to go to the bar with your friends. Now, when you become rich, you do things like, buy a horse.
Yeah, you decided to buy a house.
Horse, that horse.
Yes, that one. Or as well, when you used to just wear a simple watch, now you start seeing you move around with a $1 million bob belt, 2 million bob watches, collectibles. Muhimu sana. Red bottom shoes.
And you just buy things that you've seen. You say, okay, tumefika. This is, and when you get to Rome, you now want to act like the Romans, wear a toga and sandals, drink wine and eat grapes or olives, things like that. Okay, that's interesting, Knight Frank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mocked for selling coffins, young Chebet refuses to bury her dream. Haha, nice play on words there, Stephen Ruto, who's written that story coming out of Eldoret. People said, how can you be selling coffins? You're inviting death. Well, one sure thing about life is what? Death. Too little, too late. Queries linger over the by-election despite assurance that you can come out and you can stand behind the podium and you can have 1,000 microphones in front of you and you can say one thing, but guess what speaks louder than words?
Yep.
Kenya faces 84% chance of election violence, Observer report cautions, and this is the Observer report from the Kofi Annan Foundation. Outbreak surge in DRC puts East Africa on alert. Ding, ding, ding. It's not gone away just yet.
We've seen drills happening. We've just been told drills are taking place in Mombasa.
Yeah.
Yep. One would hope these drills will be taking place at the border points, no?
Yes.
Malaba,
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Now, I love to watch the happenings in the courts. So I was watching yesterday.
Yeah.
And the court was it went up it was crazy because before it was, the High Court actually was on Monday. It was actually yesterday. They've been given until Monday. So it was in Muteti's court yesterday, and there's 3 gentlemen who are missing. He's directed the IG and the DCI to report in court on Monday, because when they came to court and they were supposed to have presented these 3 missing gentlemen, and it didn't happen yesterday, the court was in an uproar.
Yeah.
So Justice Muteti got a bit pissed off and said, you know what, you guys are messing with me, so you and your counterpart at the DCI, he said this, of course they were in absentia, you will appear here on the 20th of July. Let me tell you, you see this, my hair? I'll shave it. If those 2 gentlemen go to court on Monday, the 20th of July, in fact, we do it here. The clippers, we shave the hair here.
Yeah.
They've been summoned because 3 gentlemen are missing. they're not dead. Whether they're dead or alive, the court again has said, bring them. They said it's not, can't come. Yes.
There's a script we've seen before when there were individuals who went missing for a very long time. I remember the deputy IG was summoned enough times on the 7th day, not 8th, on the 7th day. Showed up in court. The gentleman as well appeared.
That's what I'm telling you. I'll be bald.
That could be the same script. So let's just wait and see.
21st of July, I will be bald. The what? The who? Families of Macmillan Kiari Emugo, Evans Otieno Omondi, and Michael Olo Osoro, who've been missing for weeks. There was a habeas corpus application filed by their families. Justice Muteti directed the country's 2 top security chiefs to personally attend court. Don't send your proxy, don't send your girlfriend, show up in court and tell us where these people are, because you've been tasked with the responsibility of ensuring safety and security of Kenyans. Show up and tell us what you found, if you found anything. 20th of July is a coming. Wamboi Waruto, Nini, power broker fights to save expensive estate. There was that whole story about her property maybe being auctioned. Ugali crisis looms as worst maize crop failure ravages the breadbasket. Of course, what we're looking at is into certain parts of Trans Nzoia County, and it's a bad one. Doesn't look too good.
Doesn't look good.
From what we are seeing right now. Getting into the opinion pages, and Caroline Saroni talks about why Dangote decided to put up a mega oil refinery in Lamu. And if you, like me, stayed up to watch the football yesterday, you would know that Spain took out Le Bleu 2-0.
Yep.
And so they make their ways into the final of the World Cup. And tonight, England face the might of Messi's Argentina in the semis showdown. So let's see who will face Spain in the final. Evelyn, nimekuacha happy? It's jolly. The 22 guys will be kicking a ball tonight.
Yes.
On a pitch, on a green pitch somewhere. And it's our... You've been... All right. Talk to us.
Yeah, so let's go to the Daily Nation. Recipe for chaos. So that is on the 2027, and it's a violence a lot. Now, the courting disaster is what is being described where Kenya ranks second among 10 democracies at risk of electoral violence between 2026 and 2027, according to the Kofi Annan Foundation report. Now, the warning signs that they are highlighting have been named after the man who mediated the country's 2007 post-election crisis, cites rising political intolerance, ethnic mobilization, and guess what? Gun violence.
All right.
Now, there are unresolved grievances, and they say economic hardship, tax burden, corruption, and police misconduct are listed among historic injustices that could inflame public passions.
Okay.
We've talked about these things over and over again. Now that you're being told by the Annan Foundation, perhaps maybe Sisi kama mtuski, someone else is telling you. Now, there's the credibility deficit where the Electoral Commission, IEBC, which faces another test in tomorrow's all-Calabar election, is advised to ensure transparent processes to boost public confidence.
Okay.
Where?
Sure, you can say whatever you want.
Where? IEBC, tomorrow, kesho. Yeah, there is also alarmist drought hits Kenya food basket. So, 44.8 million 90 kg bags of maize produced in North Rift in 2024. Now, 67 to 70 million, the country's total harvest, 90 kgs in 2024. Now, 30% expected decline in this year's harvest. So what that means is perhaps you'll start seeing the cost of unga or the price of eating ugali being high. Now, Bomet Hospital water crisis drives new mothers to the river. Baskia?
To the river to fetch water?
To fetch water. New mothers. You can imagine the healing process, the mental fatigue, and the help that a new mother needs for them to just recover well and take care of their children. But they're forced to go to the river because Bomet Hospital does not have water. Yet there is a governor, there is an MCA, there is members of parliament in those constituencies there. Women rep. Some are women.
You're rage baiting me. That's what you're doing this morning.
Women representatives.
You are rage baiting me.
They have senators. And then they have cabinet secretary for health. They have cabinet secretary for water. They also have the president who employs the cabinet, appoints the cabinet.
Boarding.
Yeah.
Not boarding.
Ni ukweli. All these people would have just passed policy. All these people would have looked into what needs to happen for new mothers to get the help they need. Now, report outlines cocktail of issues that could lead to violence in 2027. That has been expounded on pages 4 and 5. Other countries that have been ranked in the 2026 index of electoral vulnerability: Kenya, Nigeria. There is Kenya, Fiji, Mongolia, Guatemala, Gambia. There is Armenia, Lesotho, and Brazil as well has been highlighted as among the countries that might experience electoral violence. Now, 1,000 police officers to secure all Kalau by-election.
1,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 99, 100, 500, 999, 1,000.
1,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. My question is, in that constituency, how many polling centers do we have for us to have 1,000?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
I don't know how many polling centers there are in All Kalau, or rather how many that will be set up.
And then you also look at the population of All Kalau constituency, because it's the people of All Kalau constituency will be voting.
Yes.
And then you look at the ratio of police together with the already existing police. So that will be one police officer to how many All Kalauans, and then compare that with
All Kalauans.
Yes, All Kalauans.
Okay.
So then you look at the overall ratio of one police officer to a Kenyan. So a police officer takes care of how many Kenyans? Today, All Kalau is secure than perhaps even State House.
Yes,
Nikusema tu. UDA ODM lose bases as 2027 realignment takes shape. Are you surprised?
No.
UDA ODM? No. Tunataka pa?
I beg you. Let me tell you.
Tell me.
Even the ones that come today and tell you that they've been shouting one time, tomorrow somebody come and say, Mambo need 2 times.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. That's what I'm telling you.
Not surprised at all.
Look for the proper leadership. Forget about who's on which side. Don't be surprised.
It is lessons for Kenyans.
Yeah.
Remember, as we're getting to 2022, everybody else was on either side speaking what agenda that they were selling. Today, there are those who are speaking agenda they were not supporting in the first place. There are those who are supporting the agenda and they are out. Politics has no permanent enemies. Usiweke roho, weka kwa lungs. Breathe in, breathe out. Exactly. VAT relief on fuel extended by 3 months. Movies aimed at averting sharp increase in palm prices in the coming months in the wake of the resumption of the US-Iran war. My question is, what's the permanent solution to this? Because the Strait of Hormuz has been closed indefinitely. Are we looking at other alternative sources?
See, Dangote is building a refinery for you people in Lam.
When will it be ready?
In 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Mutatembea sana.
Tunatembea kote. Yeah.
Tunazunguka pia kote.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Now, school fires. Education stakeholders demand action, not new reports. That I agree. We've had many reports that do exist. Nothing has happened on those reports. It's about time we started implementing after spending so much money to get these reports. Now, Kenyatta University gets lion's share of varsity admission. So, university challenged to review their programs to attract students. Question is, even as they get the lion's share, are we prepared to have them and access quality education, as it were? Are we seeing allocation, capitation getting to these schools? What happened to university funding model? Did you fix it?
Fix what?
See, university funding model.
I beg, Joe. Why you look? I told you.
I'm asking.
Stop rage baiting me this month.
So, PrEP uptake collapses by 80% as donor funding dries up. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. So, because donors left 80%, PrEP uptake collapses. That means stop it, be responsible.
Yeah.
That's all. Government of Kenya, look into how you will bridge that gap.
Come on, because clearly you need to survive. That's the truth.
That's the truth.
If you want to behave, look, we can just say it.
Yeah.
If you want to behave in if you want to have reckless sexual behavior, you will actually face the consequences. Yeah. Because guess what? The protections policies that were there for you before are no longer there.
Yes.
I mean, heck, people are giving people fake ARV or expired ARV drugs. Where do you think you're going to land if you get newly infected with HIV? Come on. we can even get annoyed about it because we've had too much information around for too long for people to imagine that you can be reckless in sexual behavior and that you won't get bitten by the bug. Nonsense.
In the meantime,
Mena. I told you.
Strap it.
Coming for your Mena.
Funga hiyo kitu bwana.
Come on.
Maoga na maji baridi ulale.
Go on. Take a jog.
Gani. Kimbia kwa barabara.
Can't be. Can you imagine that after how many years people are still saying it won't affect me? It will.
I'm afraid of getting pregnant. Shut up. Pigwa kofi lala uko kwa mchanga.
Wow. Okay. Sasa wewe umekuja sana. On the front page of the Star, Kalonzo, Sifuna, Matiang'i in high-stakes scramble to take on Ruto. Scramble to take or amongst themselves? I don't know. Major test for IEBC as Olkalau heads to the ballot. Yes, okay. It's a test for them. Usually, when you take a test, what do you want to do? So you want to pass the test.
Yeah.
So you have studied, you have learned, you have done revision, you've done your note cards, all of that, because what you want to do is pass the test.
Yes.
Ama?
Mm-hmm.
It's psychopaths. Psychopaths. It's actually been studied. That psychopaths go take a test that they, number one, don't intend to pass or that they have no desire to pass.
True.
Psychopathic tendencies. IEBC. I've just put it out there.
Choose a side. Choose a side.
President hosts Harambee Starlets at State House for breakfast. I like this girl who spoke. I think she was the captain of the Starlets team. And she said, Vile umefanya wa boys. Our boys would find
our boys does you to sort bana.
I agree. Well, get your own, my sister. And you guys played a superb football. So yeah.
And the World Cup, man. The boys didn't even get there.
That's very true.
Yeah.
They did. They did some good work. Absolutely. So utuone vile uone with the boys.
Maze utupange.
Rais utupange. How former army major planned and wiped out his family. Let me tell you, now that we're on the way of psychopaths, did you see this man yesterday?
Yeah.
Remorse ni wewe. He spent 6 years already. 5-6 years? 19, 20, 6. Almost 6 years in jail, in prison already, starting to serve a sentence. The justice said, you've been found guilty and the punishment is death. But because the death penalty is no longer applicable in Kenya, life imprisonment. The guy was not, he
wasn't flinching
at all. In fact, started quoting some big English and said, I don't agree with your judgment and I'll be appealing.
Yeah. Your Honor, you and I have traveled this journey together. I do not agree, but I'll appeal.
Hey! But you know what? The man did not deny killing his wife and children.
I'm a major.
The reasons as to why I killed them are best known to me. Come on. So he's going to be appealing that. But the justice says, you can appeal. But you and I, the justice at some point, because he was really going on, he was waxing lyrical. And the judge said, this is not about my involvement in this thing. This is about crimes that you committed and what we are preferring onto you in terms of a sentence.
Yes.
But the guy felt nothing. And I actually had a chill down my spine. And I said, if he had an opportunity to kill them again,
he would.
He would.
He would.
Yikes.
Asked even in that court, would you do it again? I think I would have said yes. Because the reasons are best known to me.
That's not a guy you want to meet in a dark alley somewhere, that's for sure. My goodness. So he's probably going to be appealing that. And let's see. So in this case, it's not a question of his problem was with the sentence.
Yes.
It's not a question
it's not what he did.
No, it's not on the charges. He said he's not guilty. And in fact, your sentence is ridiculous. Wow. What was that word? Psychopathic.
Tendencies.
Gamblers beat NSC with 330 billion shillings worth of bets in 1 year. Na mnasema hakuna pesa Kenya. 330 billion shillings of bets in 1 year. They've beat the NSC with money that's coming in. Gambling, shares. The gambler said, show me 1 shilling, I show you 330 billion.
Kati ya Man U na Arsenal.
Pata potea.
Arsenal.
Them they said it's also that story about where the super rich are investing after snubbing real estate. There's something that they're spending their money on. I'm telling you, people are buying horses. People are buying horses. I'm telling you. That's what they're doing with their money. All right. That's what it looks like in the headlines this morning. Stay here with us because we get into conversations in a short while. Good morning. It's 7 a.m.
spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The government has pledged a major crackdown following an internal audit that uncovered payroll fraud estimated at more than 6.2 billion shillings. Public Service CS Geoffrey Roko says the audit found cases of people being employed before they were born, resulting in children under the age of 18 appearing on the government payroll. It also revealed that some civil servants were drawing multiple salaries. The audit found that several employees were using the same bank account to receive salaries while others were paid despite lacking valid banking details. At the National Police Service, more than 300 million shillings was reportedly diverted to a single personal account within one financial year.
There was also issues of employees of the civil servants who were employed before they were born. The also cases of employees or civil servants who are employed before the age of 18. There are those employees that they are sharing bank accounts. There are employees with no bank account but money have been paid. How can we have employees in the national police with no bank account and are getting paid? So we need to know. You need to know what is it.
April has announced that fuel prices will remain unchanged from 15th July to 14th August. In Nairobi, a litre of petrol will continue to retail at 214 shillings and 30 cents, diesel at 222 shillings and 86 cents, and kerosene at 191 shillings and 88 cents. April says the decision follows an assessment of global crude oil price trends and import cost aimed at maintaining price stability over the next month. The announcement comes as the government warns that fuel prices could increase in the coming months due to rising global crude oil prices driven by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Energy CS Opiyo Wandai says the government has extended the current 8% VAT on petroleum products for another 3 months until October. He adds that the government has allocated 945 million shillings from the Petroleum Development Levy to help stabilize fuel prices.
These interventions, ladies and gentlemen, reflect our broader commitment to protecting consumers, supporting businesses, and safeguarding the economy from external shocks, while ensuring that petroleum products remain as affordable as possible under prevailing global market conditions. I therefore wish to reassure motorists, public transport operators, manufacturers, farmers, businesses, investors, and indeed all consumers that there is adequate fuel across the country.
In other news, Nakuru Town East MP David Gikaria has been fined 2.5 million shillings and issued with a stern warning by the IEBC over remarks deemed to have unlawfully influenced voters. In a decision by the Dispute Resolution Committee chaired by Commissioner Alutalala Mukwana, the Electoral Commission directed Gikaria to refrain from making statements that could amount to voter bribery or breach electoral laws. The action follows complaints over comments he made while campaigning in the All-Kalau parliamentary by-election, in which he claimed to have spent large sums of money distributing cash to residents. The IEBC has also referred the matter to the ODPP for investigations to determine whether criminal charges should be filed.
Be referred to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to investigate potential offences under the Election Offences Act. If established, the said Honorable David Gikaria be prosecuted criminally under the law. Order number 5, that the Honorable David Gikaria is hereby condemned to pay a fine of Kenya shillings 2.5 million within 48 hours of this determination.
The Commission has further directed Gikaria to issue a public apology by 10 a.m. today. And President William Ruto has announced that the Nairobi Metropolitan Policing Framework will be rolled out in the coming days to strengthen security and community policing across the capital. The President said the initiative will bring together residents, community leaders, the National Police Service and county governments to identify security priorities and develop local solutions. Ruto said the framework will enhance accountability, improve cooperation between communities and police, and help create safer neighborhoods. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do. Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do. Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning at now 9 minutes after 7 o'clock, and we're getting into a conversation that I know you want to be part of. But before we do that, I promise that I'll know that phrase by the end of the day.
Bomba letu ukuaji wetu.
Exactly.
But let me tell you where that phrase is coming from. It's coming from something that many describe as the engine of the country. You know, when you talk about the engine, think about you're moving from one point to point A to point B. There's something that you need to do, that it's your vehicle. But beyond that, there is now the other part of it, which is the second engine, fuel, petrol. Now, there are individuals who are in charge of pushing that product from the port of Mombasa all the way to the lakeside city of Kisumu and further even to Uganda. We're talking about Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC PLC. PLC because now it is a limited company. Kenyans owned a piece of that. But apart from that fact, is the fact that they are managing over 1,700 kilometers of pipe that is ferrying this product, as well as engineer state-of-the-art facilities that is making that possible. They are also investing into the community through the KPC Foundation that is taking smart students to school and ensuring that they come back and plug into the economy. So KPC is telling you they are here for the growth of not only Kenya but the region, because KPC bomba letu
ukwaji wetu
hapo sasa but then tunamaliza tutakuwa unajua.
Sindio? I'm normally a fast learner. I don't know what's going on with that. We'll get there eventually. And our conversation I told you earlier is that we're going to be talking this hour about, you know, politics, public office, and the rule of law, and just basic things that we know the law says very clearly, but then it seems difficult to then be able to engage. And joining us to then be able to shepherd that conversation this morning is Njeri, an advocate of the High Court, and I don't know if I should say it or you should say it, but maybe we'll let you say it as we get into our conversations today. So good morning to you, Njeri.
Yeah, good morning, my dear sister.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm very okay, and I'm quite happy to be here with you today.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you for doing that. As usual, we're going to ask you to interpret today's proverb. Dennis will tell you where that is from this morning.
Now, today we're in Libya. Now, when we talk about Libya, we go back to Libya of before, Libya now. Now, we talk about Libya at the time of Muammar Gaddafi, where there was availability of social amenities that people needed. One would say the basics. So that is affordable education, access to healthcare that was free, housing, affordable housing. It was a reality in Libya at the time. The only expensive product they had was water. Why? Because they spent more from the sea to process it and for the people to have it. So it was a little bit expensive than their fuel, which is sweet crude, which then means to process it is easier. But one thing they lacked was democracy, and it was a dictatorial leadership. Many out here having different versions. Was it a good thing? Was it not? Was it working for Libyans? Perhaps Libyans would tell us at that time. But we ask the question, are we able to learn and have both democracy as we see it and good services for wananchi? Something to ponder about. But the proverb, the heart of a fool is in their mouth, while the mouth of the wise is in their heart. How would you interpret it?
This day I would interpret it that oftentimes you'll find that people with very little knowledge, that little knowledge becomes dangerous to them, in the sense that they are not able to conceptualize the consequences of not only their thought, but decisions they make and the implications largely on the greater good of the society. Now, why do I say that? You'll find that oftentimes people will come up with a concept, and particularly when it comes to leadership. And they'll do things that, they do not think through in terms of the implications on the people, the society. And let me go straight to being political, but political in the sense that is the reality, that you give people positions of influence, power, so to speak, leadership, and when they come up with the decisions, they are decisions that have not been thought through carefully, and the damage that ends up being caused is much more than if they didn't even come up with that decision in the first place. And I'll take a classic example of this affordable housing. Very popular initiative. And the leadership, in my view, even up to now, they still think that it's a good initiative. But if you look at the damage that it ends up causing on the people, it's much, much larger. Why? Because, they thought that affordable housing is a catchphrase that you'll be able to use, make it popular. But in implementing it, you end up causing a lot of damage to the economy and to the people. Now, let me extend it further. If I take a deep dive in it, I heard the president not so long ago saying that why are people with the pay slips complaining about pay slips? What about if you compare with the ones who don't have jobs? Which one is more painful, not having a job or having a pay slip that is damaged? And I got thinking, this is a president who seems to have very little knowledge, just like you've said, not understanding the implications of attacking people's pay slips. I say this because the way the economy works, it's based on supply and demand. Now, supply will be high if there's high demand. Demand will be high if people have purchasing power. People will not have purchasing power if you're already attacking their pay slips. And if the demand is low and the supply is also low, it means that the production will also be low. If production is low, it means that jobs cannot be created. So it's a circular flow of money, so to speak. That's the way the economy will work. Now, if a president cannot understand that, this is somebody who either has little knowledge or the knowledge that he thinks he has is one that does not rationalize how systems work. So, to me, the proverb is apt.
And we've actually already started our conversation.
Already?
Yes.
Gotta love it.
Because as we look at the rule of law and the difficulty that seems to be met when it comes to obeying the rule of law or sticking by it. I mean, today, even in the papers, Macharia, where, there's a wealth of example. Again, the IG of police and the DCI boss are being asked to come to court to explain a certain matter. Whether they show up or not is a whole different kettle of fish. The IEBC is standing before us and telling us that we are saying no to this with a heavy hand, but there are examples of it having been shown over the last couple of weeks, and they seem not to be able to do anything about it. Why is it so difficult to obey the rule of law?
For me, the answer is simple, that it is not that it is difficult to obey the law, but rather that there's no intention to obey the law in the first place. Now, the reason why I say so is because it starts from the top, the leadership itself at the top. The president, actually, to me, is the biggest culprit here. What will always happen in an institution, the tone is set from the top. Whether it's a company, whether it's a public institution, whether it's a family, whatever it is the tone that is set at the top. It matters not what a leader will say. What is of major consequence is the action. The words and the action must match. Now, when you have a president who is oversighting a country where, breaking the law has become the order of the day, that becomes the cue that has been set, even for the other people who are below him. Now, if you look at all the institutions that are supposed to hold, to make sure that accountability mechanism is working, I would say with the measure of confidence that they've been swallowed by the executive. And it starts even with the quality of the appointments that are made to those institutions. You'll find that if the more incompetent a person is, or if they have a bad history, that indeed is a qualification for the appointment to those institutions. Now, I looked at the recent report, for instance, that was made by the Public Service Commission, which had been commissioned by the court, the Employment and Labor Relations Court. They were asked, there's somebody who had filed a case against the Office of the Attorney General. Remember, the Attorney General is the chief legal advisor under the Constitution. This is the person who is supposed to be, that office is the one that is supposed to be advising all the other government agencies.
Yeah.
Now, so somebody filed a complaint saying that there had been irregular recruitment of people in that office. The Public Service Commission then was sent to go and do an audit. Now, what did they come up with in terms of the report? They said that people who had never applied for jobs ended up being appointed, meaning that those who had applied were left out and positions were given to people who had never applied in the first place. Now, secondly, there was another category of people who are not even qualified for the position. They did not have the academic credentials or qualifications for that matter, and they were given positions that they did not qualify for. Now, remember, this is an office that is supposed to be oversighting other institutions, other government agencies in the government, and they are at the forefront in breaking the law themselves. The same also was said in terms of an audit that was said at the ODPP. Now, these are two critical offices. Now, if this can break the law, then what do you expect of other institutions? Now, I saw, you've seen this case that has been ongoing regarding the Speaker of National Assembly.
Yes.
This is somebody who is at the apex of an institution that is ensured, that is supposed to, that is given the powers to legislate and ensure that the law itself is working. Yet, this is the same person who is going around campaigning, breaking the law, being partisan, where even orders are being issued, the person does not care. Then how then would you expect the others to behave? Now, you come to the police service. The National Police Service is supposed to be independent. It's supposed to ensure that the law is working, this maintenance of law and order. Yet you see these hooded people, and you remember that under Schedule 6 of the National Police Service Act, every police officer is supposed to ensure that they even have an identity tag. You should be clear that you're able to identify them. But they are going around attacking people when they are hooded with these balaclavas. And then the next day, the National Police Service is issuing a statement, saying that we are here to ensure there is a maintenance of law and order.
Yes.
Police will ensure that goons are not, the goons will not be allowed to operate. Now, you are the National Police Service. You are the Speaker of National Assembly. You're supposed to ensure the law is working. You're the Attorney General. You're supposed to ensure that you're the forefront in obeying the law yourself. You're the ODPP. You're supposed to take action against those who are breaking the law. Now, you have a president who will tell you, times without number, that we are a country of the rule of law. We'll take you to Singapore. Yet, the actions of all these agencies, the actions of all these people are not in tandem with the words that they are pronouncing. I would say that we are a country that actually is on a downward spiral, where this total breakdown of law and order. And if urgent action is actually not taken by 2027, we'll have no country to speak about. And I'm not just, I'm not exaggerating. It's a reality. Every single day when you look at how things are working, particularly now when you see that goons are running, amok in the country, they are walking around and you can even identify them. And then a minister who is responsible for interior security says that don't cry foul. Everybody has goons,
All of
them. Those in government, those who are not in government. This is a cabinet secretary in charge, who is responsible for ensuring that safety and security of Kenyans is guaranteed. You are even a lawyer. There's even a lawyer, somebody who has practiced law. This fellow was even a lecturer, was teaching law. Then he is standing and saying that we don't need to, let's not pretend everybody has goons. You've been given the instruments of power to ensure that the safety and security for Kenyans. You can't be crying when everybody else is crying. The rest of us can complain because we are outside. But you are the one who is responsible. You've been given the resources. Now, if you are crying, what will Kenyans do? Now, for me, the answer is simple, that unless and until the day we're able to hold people to account, ensuring that it is accountability, that the institutions are making sure that people are held to account, then there's no hope for us.
Okay, one would ask the question, if we talk about the independence of these institutions being able to do their job, people know of the independence that they do have. The president, where he sits, knows very well that he's not supposed, I'm using the word, he's not supposed to interfere with other officers, because here we're looking at the ODPP. They know they're protected by the law. But is it a question of individuals who have surrendered their powers, or they are out there to please a master?
These fellows, even right from the appointment, they were never meant to be able to operate correctly. They were never meant to actually be competent enough to work for Kenya. That's why I say that it all starts with the quality of the appointments. In our country today, and this is the reality, if you are very good at what you do, you actually stand no chance at all of being given a position. You stand zero chance. The only time that we came close to having competent people who were appointed correctly was immediately after the 2010 constitution, because I served in one of the institutions then.
Yes.
I was the first chair of IPOA. And I know for a fact, speaking from my personal experience, that the institution was able to function. And they were able to stand against pressure from the executive then, both President Uhuru and even this president who was the deputy president then, were able to stand firm against them. And I know for a fact, like I remember that time we had approximately 64 police officers charged, investigated by the institution. In fact, eventually, from the investigation that we conducted, 17 were convicted, both at the time, by the time I left and even after we left, the cases were still ongoing. And eventually, I know 17, we had an OCS for the first time being charged to death. We had 2 other senior police officers. In fact, 3 police officers were sentenced to death. That was a first. It had never happened. We had an officer, I recall, being sentenced to 40 years imprisonment. We had several being sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Others 15 years imprisonment, 10 years imprisonment. 17. Now, and that time, it reached a point whereby a police officer, when they heard of IPOA, they were frightened. In fact, they were very careful not to go around breaking the law, because they knew that there would be consequences, for the bad behavior. Since we left, what has happened? Everything came to a standstill. You don't hear of the institution anymore.
So are we looking, therefore, at appointments that are meant to serve the executive and not one?
Absolutely. That's precisely the point, Dennis, that these appointments are meant to serve the executive, not the people. Now, but you see, the question that I've always asked myself, you've gone to school, you're a professional, even aside of how you've been appointed, because the position I would take is that if I'm appointed to a position, it matters not who has appointed me or the reasons why they've appointed me. But at the end of the day, I went to school. I have my professional reputation to protect. I have a conscience. I'm also a Kenyan, first and foremost, and this is my country. And you see all these people, even in the executive, they are there for a time. In fact, I always say that even those who hold positions of power, it's always a revolving door. You are in, you're out. Before you know it, you're actually out. Time moves so fast. And just like we said, I was a chairman. I am not one, in IPOA. Yeah. I'm an ordinary guy. I was a vice chair in the judiciary. I am not one now, you see. So you must always be conscious of the fact that time moves so fast. Before you know it in that position, the next minute you're not there. Now, why these people in the executive keep forgetting that when you're in a position of influence, that you should use it for the greater good of the society, knowing that you could also need that assistance at some point in time, I don't understand. And I'll give you an example. Like today, these people have allowed the healthcare to break down completely because it's not functional. We are dealing with a public healthcare that is not functional. Now, I recall a case of this lady called Dr. Sandra in 2023, a very sad case, October 2023. Now, this lady was traveling in a car, I think with her husband and somebody else, and then the car rolled somewhere in Archer's Post, some place called Archer's Post.
Yes.
Now, after rolling in this car, remember, this is a doctor. I can't recall whether she was a pediatrician or something in Isiolo hospital. After rolling, the other occupants in the car were not hurt miraculously, but she just had a cut. She had a cut. Now, so she had to be rushed to Isiolo hospital to be treated. Now, unfortunately, in this Isiolo hospital, there was no oxygen, so she couldn't be operated. Now, so there was now an attempt to look for an ambulance. When an ambulance was found, it didn't have fuel. So by the time now she was being taken out to the other side of Meru, there's a hospital there called, I can't remember the name of the hospital. By the time she was getting there, she had there was so much bleeding. The lady passed on just because of a cut, something that could have been operated on if there was oxygen. She could have been taken very quickly to the hospital again if there was fuel in the ambulance. Now, this could have been you or me.
Yes.
It could be any of us. You know, it doesn't matter whether you have good insurance. If you are somewhere far away and the other hospitals do not have the necessary facilitation, they don't have oxygen, the basics, and you are involved in that accident and you can't be able to get help, it will not matter whether you are very high up in the executive, whether you are very low in the cadre. Which is why it's critically important that systems work for all of us, not just a few, because you do not know at what point in time you'll need that help. Now, I was reading the statistics the other day from the National Cancer Institute of Kenya, that we have 47,000 Kenyans every year being diagnosed with cancer. 47,000,
yes.
Out of which 32,000 are dying. Now, families are being impoverished because the only way they can try to get help is try to put funds together, fundraising. In fact, if you go to WhatsApp groups, every other time you're seeing people doing fundraising so that they can go where? To India to go for treatment. We have a government that is functioned, that is telling us about Singapore. They are telling us that that the system is working for people. Yet, you have 47,000 being diagnosed with cancer, 32,000 dying. People are traveling all the way to India when you could make systems work right here at home. Why? Because you have people with a little knowledge, just like we started, and they have no wisdom, there's no vision, there's no desire to work for people. But do you know what? They don't care because things are working for them. Look at the poverty levels in Kenya, if I may also delve deep again to the statistics. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, these are statistics of a government agencies, not Machari and Njeri.
Yes.
Saying that 40% of Kenyans are actually living below poverty line as we speak, you know. It is 38.9, so call it 4 out of every 10 Kenyans. When you talk about living below poverty line, it means that people cannot afford the basic, the food.
Yeah, food even, yeah.
Rent, the basic. You're not talking about riches, you're talking about the basics.
Food, shelter, clothing.
Yes. Food, shelter, clothing, you can't get. And you see, when you don't have that, it means that the basic dignity of you as a human being has been taken away from you. Now, World Bank last week said that we have about another 2.4 million Kenyans who are being taken to extreme poverty on top of the 40% that you're already talking about. Yet, the executive will keep telling us that the economy is growing, that things are working. Yet the statistics are painting a different picture. When you look at the Federation of Kenyan Employers, again their statistics were showing that 67% of the youth have no jobs. In fact, or even the jobs that you're talking about, the people who have those jobs, we are talking about low quality jobs. You find a guy with a degree is now a security guard. You know, so even the jobs that you talk about, they are not jobs that are worthy of talking about. The country is completely moving in the wrong direction. People are growing poor. People are hungry. There's chaos in the country. And all you see every other time is these politicians with large, with words of cash in harambis. It's like millions have become petty cash.
Yep.
You have a small group of people who have so much money, who are in abundance. These are politicians. They have no industries or employment company that they've created where you can see that they're adding value to the economy. Yet, they are arrogant, they have a lot of money, and people are angry, people are poor. I mean, how do you live with that? I always ask myself, as a leader, how do you sleep when you see all that? When you go to bed, what do you think about it? When you wake up, when you know that people gave you a mandate, how do you live with that? And yet a time will come when you'll no longer be in that power, you'll actually die because everybody is mortal.
Right.
What is the legacy that you leave?
And if anybody's asking themselves those questions at this point, perhaps that would lead us into a place where we're actually doing better. We're interrogating some of these things in terms of the rule of law and even just that basic conscience that you have to then do the best that you can with what you have. Macharia Njeri is with us this morning because we're going to come back after this short break, Macharia, and start asking the questions around who then bells the cat. Because if we are in a situation today where things are going to the dogs, as you say, who's going to get it out of that situation, and how is that going to be done? Who takes up the mantle for leadership? We'll be back after this short break and interrogate some more of this. Stay with us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
Okay, it's getting a little bit busier in the city this morning. If you're looking into Nairobi and coming off of the Thika Superhighway, still just a little bit of traffic. Hasn't been too crazy as you get to that intersection then between Kiambu Road, coming through Mathaiga Square, and then off of the Thika Superhighway right around the Pangani Underpass. So that's busy there. And then you get to the Globe Cinema roundabout, and there's a lot of traffic there as you're trying to get into the city from that side. Ngong Road has a little bit of traffic, but Langata Road has quite some of it that's going to feed off then towards Raila Odinga Way, and then some of it down towards Aerodrome, and then out towards Uhuru Highway via Bunyala at that roundabout. Okay, so that's where it looks like the busiest of it for now. And North Airport Road, there it is, that traffic snaking along bumper to bumper, in and outbound, coming in from Embakasi and then out towards Cabanas. So that's where it slows down this morning, and we're in traffic hour. Let's walk through it. Well, in this case, don't sleep through it. SpiceFM, #EonX, hashtag the Situation Room.
Every day behind the scenes, Kenya Pipeline Company PLC keeps Kenya moving. Now operating as a public listed company, KPC PLC is built to support national development and energy security. From the port of Mombasa to East Africa, KPC PLC powers transport, storage and distribution of all petroleum products. And through KPC Foundation, it continues to uplift communities across Kenya. KPC PLC, now a public listed company, fueling progress for Kenya.
Hii Julai, toa baridi na bei chini, burudani juu kwenye Star Times. Usikose Sura ya Pili, simulizi ya ziada. Mwanamke aliyetelekezwa na mumewe Sam na kujikuta akikabiliwa na maamuzi magumu. Je, atabaki na kupigania ndoa yake au ataondoka na kuanza ukurasa mpya wa maisha? Jiunge na waigizaji Anita Wawuda, Gibson Hausa, Michael Saruni, Ivy Wanjiku na Jovial kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa saa 2 kamili kwenye Rainbow TV. Pata aerial decoder kwa shilingi 1399 tu na dish decoder kwa shilingi 2499 pekee. Jiunge leo katika maduka yetu kote nchini Kenya. Bonyeza *858# kurenew subscription yako na kuenjoy offer ya kupata upgrade to the next high bouquet valid till 31st July. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Come back into our conversation at now 21 minutes to 8 o'clock. Macharia Njeri, advocate, is here with us this morning, and we're having that critical conversation about really the rule of law, you might want to, it's basic things that we're talking about here. So you don't even need to flower it up. That if you obey what you've been bound by as per the Constitution, which is the supreme law, then there are certain things that you must do. And you talk about having a conscience, that how then do you sit in a particular office where things have actually gone belly up and that you're able to sleep at night, that you would leave that office and not then be able to account for what it is that you have done?
Yeah.
How do we do that with the people that we currently have in leadership? And if it is clear that that cannot happen, who then takes up the mantle?
I would answer it in two ways. First and foremost, the professional organizations have to start taking action and serious action against their peers. Now, to me, the Law Society, as a starting point, should start taking action against its members who are in the executive who are breaking the law. Mm-hmm. And they be bold enough to do it. The Speaker of National Assembly is a lawyer. The CS Interior is a lawyer. The Deputy President is a lawyer. The ODPP is a lawyer. The Attorney General is a lawyer. So all these people, when you look at them, they are our peers. To me, we should not be afraid of taking action against these people. So that, because see, at the end of the day, you're first a professional. You belong to a profession, most of these people, before they're even employed in this executive. And there's nothing as critical to a professional as when you cannot be respected by your peers. When you lose that, that ability to be a member of that professional organization. If it's doctors, the same thing. They should be able to do the same thing. If you're a surveyor, they should also take action. If you're whatever profession that you belong to, because most of these people, one way or the other, they belong to a profession. Mm-hmm. The professional bodies to which they belong should start taking action again, because the government is not taking action. That should be something that should be taken seriously. But more importantly, we as a people, as citizens, we have a lot of power by the way we elect, because we cannot also escape from responsibility, because Kenya as a people, because this is a right, it's a fundamental right that belongs to us. But when it comes to elections, how we also elect our leaders, we must ask ourselves whether we're doing it correctly, because we don't. You have crooks, people who we know that, as for all intents and purposes, they are criminals. Even in as much as they may not have been convicted, but we all know that these people have terrible records in terms of when it comes to governance, in terms of accountability, and all that. And yet we go ahead and give them that power. We have a good opportunity in 2027, now that we know that we've suffered enough. We've suffered, and anybody who will say that we've not suffered as a people, then they are living in another planet. Mm-hmm. We should be able to exercise our power correctly, how we elect our leaders, and making sure that whether it's an MCA, whether it's a member of parliament, whether it's a senator, whether it's a governor, whether it's a woman's rep, and whether even the president, because even if you elect correctly below here, but you elect a rogue president, you still have a problem. So you must do that correctly. Then, people who know that they are good and they are capable of rendering a good service to our country, let's not shy away from joining politics. Mm-hmm. Because there's this tendency of many people saying that politics is dirty. It doesn't have to be dirty. There are many who say that I do not want to dirty my hands. I don't want to get into it because it's problematic. Then we allow crooks to be the ones to get into these positions, and they're the ones who are elected. We shouldn't have a situation whereby that people are told to choose between who is a lesser evil out of these two evils. Why don't we just have the right people in the first place? When you look at the statistics of the last elections, you see that the number of the people who elected the winning candidate for the presidency was 7-point-something million people.
Yes.
The ones who did not vote were 8 million, which means that the people who opted not to go and vote were more than the ones who actually voted for the winning candidate.
Yeah.
But if you research and you check why did these people not vote, it's because they just felt that I'm being given two bad options, so why go and vote? And we run the risk also even in 2027, if you don't have the right candidate, of having the same problem where people will say, we have a rogue president, we have an opposition which is also not providing us with a better candidate, it is better just not to vote. But now, that is not a solution. So that's why it's critically important that we have good candidates. Let people not have an option. Let's not give people, the public, an option of saying that you don't have good candidates, and that's why I'm opting to stay away. Let people get there, because if you don't get involved in politics, you choose that I don't want to delve into politics. Politics will find you where you are.
It's everything.
It will find you where you are because you'll have bad healthcare system, bad education system, the transport system that is not working, economy that is not working, you are being impoverished. So you still suffer one way or the other. So why not do something in the first place?
And Okili, I mean, we say that election is a process, and it's a process that begins before even people decide to offer themselves to run for office. But there are critical bodies that are supposed to vet and ensure that Kenyans have people who are worthy of those positions, you know, because we look at individuals who have been interdicted, they've gone to jail, they've been declared, they've spent time in jail. They get out, look at the law and take advantage of the law and say, you know, because I still have appeal mechanisms, I can still run. When you look at the vetting process that goes forth to then give a candidate to Kenyans, is that where we fail? Because then anyone can still take advantage of the law and say, I'm a Kenyan, I have the right to run. So how do we heal that problem of vetting before we get to see someone at the ballot?
I agree with you entirely that, you know, there's an issue there. And we all agree that the systems are not working, the institutions are not working. Even when the law, as they say, is clear, it is still not clear to the extent that it's not being applied.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying the way to heal that, in my view, is by many of us who believe that we can be able to contribute to good governance in this country, not shying away from taking a deep dive into it. Because you see, the moment we don't take a deep dive into it, these problems will find us right where we are. And every single person of us has been affected by this bad governance, except a few who are benefiting out of all this confusion. But also the people themselves, we must be able to do a lot of civic education and make people understand that it's important for us to have the right leaders so that these people can be entrusted with the mantles of power and be able to go and do the right thing for us. I would rather be able to take a deep dive into it, offer myself, sell myself to the people and tell them why you need to elect me now. And I'm not talking about me as an individual, I'm talking about people like me and others. Let people not elect us, but at least we'll have given them an option. Let us create parties that can be able to work for the people, not against the people. Because, see, the biggest challenge that we have in our country is that people are being divided, along tribal lines. These politicians, what do? They come and tell us that we're going to create a party for our people. That it is going to be, that we as a people, we need to be at the center of power so that we can take care of our people. You find that every community is creating a party for itself. But when you look at these people who are advancing that line of politics, they're actually not even doing it for their people. They are doing it for themselves. It is really for themselves and their families. Now, unless we start making sure that we as Kenyans, we are not allowing ourselves to be divided along tribal lines, then again, we're also making sure that the leaders that we elect are people with a track record. Because even when you are employing somebody, surely you must look at their track record. Even when you even hire a housemaid, when you even hire a basic worker, wherever it is, you look at their track record because you want to make sure that at least your property or even you yourself, you are safe. So why is it that we don't take time to also check the quality of the people that we are electing, that we are so quick to elect people with emotions? We are so quick to go back to our tribal cocoons. We are so quick to elect anybody just because of the money that they're offering, as opposed to the quality of the person. So we'll keep having this. It's like becomes a vicious cycle where every 5 years we're electing a gang of, we're electing gangsters. We are unhappy with them. We remove them. Then once we remove them, we replace them with another set of gangsters. So when are we going to stop this? Because at the end of the day, we'll continue suffering.
So the voter is the problem. The system is the problem. But then also when you say, okay, well, it's what I choose. It's what I have chosen. It's this buffet that has been put in front of me. But then also what you put on the buffet has to be actually something that is worth the choice that the voters make.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you hopefully are not drinking, rather preaching water and drinking wine, that you've put yourself up to say, okay, I can be in a position. And we know that you're a party leader today. We know that you're now a party leader of a party. What exactly is that all about?
You see, for me, I'm never afraid. I'm never afraid of being part of a solution. Whether it will work or not is a different thing, but at least let me give it a shot. To me, I always say that you'll not know that something will not work unless and until you try in the first place. We should never be afraid of being part of the solution, which is why I say to myself that you look at the parties that are being offered to us at any given time. You ask yourself, you have a party where certificates are given to people based on who has the money. You have parties where a party belongs to an individual, as opposed to a party where it's all inclusive, that belongs to the members themselves. You have a party that are being created along tribal lines. You have parties that have no clear vision in terms of delivering for the people. Because for a leader to be effective, you must have a clear vision. And you must also have the knowledge and experience on how to implement the vision, because saying is one thing, but also doing is a different thing. People think that providing leadership is a walk in the park. It is not. It's a very difficult thing, but it is doable. So a few of us came together and said, we are not going to keep also crying like everybody else. We are going to be part of a solution. We create our party, which is why we've created a party called Mongozompia Party. I am the party leader. We have our national chairperson, somebody called Fatuma Ali Saman. We have a secretary general called Steve Owor. We have a national treasurer called Vincent Kipto. We have a youth representative called Helen Case. We have a national organizing secretary called Annabelle Njoki. So we've started by making sure that it's not a tribal party.
I can see that.
It has a face of Kenya.
Yeah.
We are not going to create a party that belongs to a tribe. We are not going to identify ourselves within a region. That this a party of this region. We want a party for Kenya. We also want to make sure there's a party that also has gender balance, where we're not saying it just for the sake of saying it. We make sure that it's balanced. We'll also make sure in our party and our party constitution, we have a vetting committee. We've created a vetting mechanism so that anybody who wants to vie through our party, you'll have to be vetted to answer to what Dennis was saying, that we have to make sure, since the government agencies are not able to do their job, let us do our job at least within our party structure. Where we make sure that, for instance, if you're going to vie, you have a lot of money, but you are dirty. There's another guy here who has no money, but the guy is clean, he can render a service. We'll give the clean guy a certificate even if it's for free. We're not in the business of selling certificates. We'll make sure that we have candidates in all positions, right from MCAs, from senators, from whatever it is, even the presidency. We are not going to keep crying here. Let us offer an alternative to Kenyans. Whether they take it or not is a different thing. Because again, it's a democracy. It's people to present an opportunity, a choice to people. It's for them to choose whether to take it or not. But the point that I'm speaking to, because I do not want to use this forum to advocate for my party, I will do it differently, is that many people, it is time for us to stop complaining and delve deep into it and participate. Let us not say that politics is that it shouldn't be. Let us not allow our country to be taken over by goons. How do you allow a country where when people are going to advocate for a position or they're going to speak their mind, whatever it is, then goons are being set upon them? When we are a free country, people should be allowed to go and sell their policies wherever they are. People should be free to travel, anywhere in the country. Safety and security is, if there's something that the government has to ensure for its citizens, is safety and security for all. That's a fundamental, let me tell you, it's a critical component of the existence of any government. A government that cannot ensure the safety and security for its citizens has no business being in office. Zero. It has absolutely no business at all calling itself a government. If I were the president today of Kenya and I cannot ensure that there's safety and security for my people, I would have no business calling myself a president. You have no business calling yourself a president. Because as the commander-in-chief, as the person who has been given the instruments of power, it is your responsibility. No child in Marakwet should fail to go to school because they are being terrorized by cattle rustlers. No person walking in the streets at night should be, this Ngeta. We should not be able to, that you are being attacked. You see this CCTV. People are being attacked in salons. People are being attacked in the streets. They can't, what kind of a country is that? And yet you have police. You have all the instruments of power. You have the ability. Again, I go back to the CS. I was seeing the other day that the guy is doing benchmarking in New York and doing another benchmarking in London. You're posting things on Twitter. You can't do the basics here in Kenya. You don't need to go to the US. You don't need to go to UK to go and do any benchmarking. Yet you're here telling us that every part of the political divide has goons. If you can't get it right on the basics, why even get to the plane and go and do what benchmarking do you need to do to know that you can be able to ensure the safety and security
for the
Kenya?
people? I need to ask a question, Mashara, because even as you talk about some of these things, we've seen that this morning, or rather from yesterday, that the deployment that will go to Okoh in a by-election, which, by the way, is a replacatory election process, whereby somebody through, whatever the case may be, can no longer be in that position, whether it is by death or resignation or things like that. So it is supposed to be something where people come in and they say, we lost our representative, we put in another. But look at the deployment that's going into Okoh, for example. 1,000 police officers, water cannons. I don't even know what the list looks like now. But GSU officers. But the IEBC chair said very clearly that this is going to be a free, fair election. We expect everybody to behave right. But if you put this kind of personnel and these boots on the ground, what kind of message are you sending? It's almost as though you're preparing for war.
You see, I incidentally, I come from that county, Nyandarua County. Though I was born in Nandi, I belong to that county, did my schooling in Njeri County and also in Nakuru. So I actually belong to 4 counties plus Nairobi. But now, look at the amount of resources that were even deployed by the government in that by-election. You're talking about a by-election, for crying out loud. A by-election. They deployed a lot of resources. Those resources, let's start by saying that it's a right to Kenyans. These are resources that should have been able to be deployed to Kenyans generally, whether there's an election or no election. Cabinet secretaries going and camping there. Senior government officials going and camping there. Spending a lot of money, bribing people, are doing that, because of a by-election. Look at the kind of security that they're also deploying. Now, the people in the opposition, when they were trying to also go there, you saw the other day that they had this truck that was going there for purpose of campaign. It was attacked, burned down by hooded fellows. Now, the members of the opposition being attacked, even being shot at. You find that they're being shot at, they're being stoned, being beaten up, What kind of that's why I'm asking myself, when the president, wherever he is at any given time, and I believe he doesn't care, and he thinks that it's okay, it's okay that he can do that because he's in power. What about the day when he'll not be in power? Those cabinet secretaries and those senior government officials, what about the day they'll not be in power? What about the day when they should be on the other foot? Because, you see, sometimes when you're doing certain things, you need to sit back and pause and ask yourself, yes, I'm doing this against the other side because I'm the one in power. But there'll be that situation that day when I'll not be in power. The ones now that I'm fighting and beating up are the ones who will be in power. Why? Because I cannot understand that you are sending all these water cannons and, like you said, it's like this. It's another Ukraine. Yet you're talking about a country that, is a democratic country. This democracy. People are just accessing their right. And you are bribing people, using a lot of resources to buy this seat, so to speak. Then again, you're also creating a scenario whereby it's intimidation. Because to me, this is intimidation. You want to make it clear to as many people as possible that don't just show up, because there's likelihood of chaos, and people don't want chaos.
No.
So you are suppressing, it's actually voter suppression. You want to win this seat by hook or crook, so that you can send a message in the country that you are the ones who are going to take over power in 2027. Who tells you that in 2027, firstly, that you manage to get that power? And who tells you that Kenyans, you are going to intimidate Kenyans left, right, and center, and that they'll sit back? There's a way you can push people to the wall, It's just like a cat. If you keep fighting a cat in an enclosed environment, yes, you'll fight, but it will reach a point whereby it will say enough is enough now. I have to fight back. What the president should realize, and also even those who are in power, don't push people to a limit whereby they start now saying that we're going to start defending ourselves. Yes, that could be the intention, that you want to create mayhem so that you can create an environment whereby you can continue perpetuating, yourself in power. But the history has shown us time and again that it never works. We have Charles Taylor, the guy, was he the president of Liberia?
Yes.
Is he still in jail in a ICC?
Yes.
We have Duterte, the former president of the Philippines. We have leaders. We've seen these things happening again. You see, accountability may take time to catch up with somebody, but eventually it does. It eventually does. I always tell people that you may think that you continue doing wrong things and get away with it. Yes, you may get away with it, but like the proverbial 40 days that always catch up with a thief. The day still comes where accountability will work.
Indeed.
So, what are the easiest thing to do for those who are in the executive, those who are in power? Just do the right thing. Not so that you can be praised for it, because it's the right thing to do. Just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
That's it. And I think that's a great way to end this. Just do the right thing because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're not, then the people have the right also to remove you.
Absolutely.
Mashara and Njeri, thank you for being here with us this morning. I mean, just kind of a reset in terms of thinking this is actually what it is. We can call it many things, but it's just not the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here and forming this conversation with us. More continue. Good morning at 8 o'clock.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The 8th prosecution witness in the murder case of Kasipul MP Ongondo Were has told the Kibera Magistrates Court that he was paid 50,000 shillings to transport one of the suspects, unaware that he was allegedly part of a murder plot. The witness said he picked up the suspect in Jacaranda and ferried him to several locations before meeting a Toyota Crown driver in Buruburu. They later proceeded to Nairobi's CBD, where they followed the MP to Daystar University in Hurlingham. He testified that the suspect got off the motorbike because of heavy traffic. Moments later, gunshots rang out. The suspect then returned, instructed him to speed away from the scene, and they left immediately. The witness told the court he only believed he was providing transport and he had no knowledge of any plan to kill the legislator. Ongondo Were was shot dead on the evening of 30th April while driving along Gong Road near the city mortuary roundabout in Nairobi. Police believe the killing was targeted and premeditated. 4 former Nairobi County officials have denied manslaughter and forgery charges linked to the collapse of a building in South Sea on the 2nd of January, which left 2 people dead. The accused Abdi Shakur Mohammed, Yusuf Mohamud Yusuf, Daniel Alphonse Odiambo, and Gideon Sheged pleaded not guilty when they appeared before Milimani Chief Magistrate Caroline Nyagodhie. They are also charged with starting construction works without a valid environmental impact assessment license in violation of the Environmental Management and Coordination Act. The prosecution alleges that Abdi Shakur Mohammed and Yusuf Mohammed Yusuf uploaded forged building approval documents to the National Construction Authority registration system, falsely presenting them as genuine documents issued by the Nairobi County government. The court granted each of the accused a bond of 5 million shillings or an alternative cash bail of 2 million shillings.
Investigations and honored the court summons to attend plea, and also balancing the public interest in the matter. Since we had lives which were lost, I will grant each accused person a bond of Kenya shillings 5 million with a similar surety of the same amount, or a cash bill of 2 million with 2 contact persons, which I believe is very reasonable and in the circumstances of this case.
Conflicting views have emerged over claims of political differences between DAP-K party leader Eugene Wamalwa and Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya. Former NWS parliamentary candidate Shami Jami has urged Wamalwa to engage Natembeya in talks to resolve any issues and strengthen party unity. However, Chepchoina Ward representative Peter Chakali has dismissed the claims, saying the two leaders remain united and continue working together to advance the political interest of the Western region.
Mheshimiwa Eugene, katika nyumba yako tunasikia kuna kelele hapa na hapa na hapa. Kwa hivyo mimi ninaomba tu watu hapa ambao tumekaa, tutatuma ndugu yetu Eugene aongee na gavana Natembeya. Kelele ya nyumba ishe, kelele ikwishe. Kwa sababu kelele ikiisha, watoto tutakaa kwa amani.
Jami amesema waziri Eugene aongee na gavana. Nadhania waziri Eugene ni professional. Yeye anajua ni kitu gani anafanya. Labda wanaongea na sijaona kama kuna shida yoyote. Labda haya ni mambo ya kusikia tu. Eugene yeye na gavana ni timu moja, wataenda waongee wamalize kama kuna utofauti.
And agriculture officials have warned over possible maize shortage in the country following a 60% crop failure in Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu counties, two of Kenya's leading maize-producing regions. The officials say the expected rains last month failed, leaving farmers withering crops in their fields. Some farmers have since resorted to uprooting the affected maize plants and using them as livestock feed. Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya says the county government will train farmers on growing alternative crops using modern farming methods that take climate change into account. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembur.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption, because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mjengo, Mama and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just came from Dubai and he found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same National Assembly.
Yes.
That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
I am also a publicly elected official.
Okay.
My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will
sana.
always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption, because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Thank you for keeping it with us. It is 11 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to talk with the Senator and Governor in one county, Murang'a County. John Yutu will be with us in a short while, and we'll also get on the phone with Governor Irungu Kang'ata. And we'll be looking into some of these issues of things that we see still with Ol Kalou in place. Now, before we do that and we get into those conversations, do tell us, Bomba.
We've been talking about regional integration, but many are asking, what do you mean when you talk about Bomba and regional integration? Now, let me just take you through it. When you think about it, think about the plumbing system that makes this possible. You know, Kenya Pipeline is telling you that because of its vast state-of-the-art pipeline that they have set down to transport fuel from the port of Mombasa to the lakeside city of Kisumu all the way to Uganda, that brings two economies together because they depend on a single product that is very critical in pushing this economy. So Kenya Power, with its engineers and manning over 1,700 kilometers of pipe that is pushing petroleum products, they're telling you they're able to push your this product in a reliable manner, in a safe manner, and also in a way that will get to you and assure you that what you're getting is that which the governments have assured meets quality and meet the standards there are. So beyond just pushing the economy, they're also investing back into the community by taking children to school. Education is critical, and these children come back and plug into the economy and continues pushing. So think about the cyclical nature of what it is they are doing and also giving back to the community. So to find out more on what KPC does and how they're ensuring that these economies do move and integration does happen, you go to www.kpc.co.ke, because Kenya Pipeline is telling you, bomba letu, ukuaji wetu.
Kabisa. All right, so we get into our conversations in just a while. We'll be with Senator Nduh in a bit, but then also just looking into Okoh before that that conversation is able to start for us, is that there are just so many moving parts to this thing, and something that should seem so clear, unfortunately for a lot of people, is not. That there's a lot of political innuendo. We expect that to be the case, and there's a lot of threats and hurling insults back and forth, that there's a lot of violence that has already been meted on certain people. And then to just ask ourselves the question in terms of, so what exactly do we expect to happen then moving forward? Does Thursday look like that day where people are going to, right now, we can actually call it, does Thursday look like that day when we're going to go in, people are going to vote, and at the end of the day, we'll get a solution? That's the question.
I mean, one would expect that with a by-election, because we've had by-elections before, where individuals wake up early in the morning, go and ensure that they select their legislators and they go back home. But what we're seeing now, especially with what we've been treated to, where it is violence, where it is insults, where it is bribery, there is intimidation, absence of security, and then you look at all of a sudden even threats of the elections being cancelled because of how people are behaving in the campaign period. Where is the fairness? Where is the constitution? Where is the law towards the Thursday event?
Indeed.
Towards the Thursday casting of the vote, where we're seeing 1,000 officers being sent to do what exactly?
It's the question that we're asking this morning, and there's some things that we just want to then be able to get a clear up about. Joining us on the line this morning is the governor for Murang'a County, and that's Irungo Kangata, and then to be able to go over a number of things and to just hear from his position. Governor, a very good morning to you.
Press 7.
Okay, perhaps we need to see if we can get him back actually on the line, if he is, just to confirm that he's there. All right, so before he then does come in, that the violence that we see, what is the necessity of violence? And usually it is for intimidation. That when you're able to intimidate somebody and essentially put them down, then you have control. That let's look at this. We say, why do we have to keep people who don't have any conscience? It's actually a plan. That when you have people using violence as a political tool, it is for the end goal of control.
True.
So that you can control the situation and that you can be the one who will get the result that everybody is seeking. It is for control. The conscience or the feelings, all of those things actually do not come into play. That somebody is seeking a position where they will be able to control the narrative, and they will use any means necessary to do that. The question is, on which side will you be? If you choose those who use violence as a means to then be able to get control, you are just like them.
True. And you see, another question, Nduh, you see, when you talk about election is an exercise that is backed by the law. It is a legal exercise. It is a legal process. And because it is a legal process, there are terms and conditions that must apply. Not should, that must apply. So when we look at the kind of bribery that we are seeing, because remember, IEBC has just told us that a presidential candidate who will be running across the country in all the constituencies, all the counties to get that 50+1 is the spending is pegged at 4 billion shillings. But when we see a by-election in a constituency spending billions of shillings in a by-election, one asks the question, why? Where is this money coming from? And we have other agencies that are supposed to look at the legal aspect of these by-election failing to do that. Why is this the case? And what does this mean in 2027 when Kenyans will be going to an election? Is it just an open playground for everybody to break the law because they want to get that which you stated, control, and want to get to power and rule the people? How do you rule the people if you have broken all the laws that do exist? Those who have bribed people in Okoh today, you want to get to parliament to legislate and pass laws, yet you broke the laws while you're getting in? How? How do we trust that you will do right, that you live by the law, you respect the law when you are in that office if you broke them while getting in? And do we as Kenyans also see that? do we expect that people who broke the law are the ones who will come and uphold the law, even if they swore to protect and uphold that law?
Do you expect different? I mean, look, it's what you put in that you're going to get out. And I keep saying that the ingredients that you put into this thing, if we're looking at what are the ingredients for this Okoh by-election already so far, bribery, violence, intimidation, all of those things. Those are the recipe. Those are the ingredients that you've put into this recipe. When you put it in the oven, as you will do on Thursday when you go to the by-election, what do you expect that you're going to get out of the thing, regardless of the person that you then have chosen to be the winner? What you put in is what you're going to get out. And that if these are the indications that we're looking for into the next general election in 2027, then perhaps the people who have been making these proclamations over the last couple of days then do have a point. That it doesn't look very rosy ahead. He's senator in the Republic of Kenya representing the people of Muranga, and that is Joe Newton. He joins us this morning. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Nduh. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Sorry I came in late, but I left home very early. Up to there was an accident somewhere along Kahawindani. I've spent about 40 minutes there, but I thank God that I'm here now.
We're glad to have you here, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being. So let's just jump into it this morning because, you know, when we're looking into what's happening, it looks like it's high stakes. It's moral thumping. There's a lot going on. I just want to come from the point whereby, you know, Dennis raised the point this morning that what has been deployed now, it's interesting that in the last 2 weeks, what has been deployed into Okoh has been goodies, emoluments for the people. And there have been many for the sleepy town, and that's what it really is. I actually went and I looked into Okoh inside and see where it is and what exactly it does look like. A sleepy little town, and the people have gotten stuff in what they have never experienced before. But it's interesting because as of yesterday, what was deployed now to Okoh is 1,000 policemen, GSU officers, water cannons, all sorts of security in a
sleepy town.
Small sleepy town again, in anticipation of the by-election that will happen tomorrow. It's a switch from what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Why do you reckon that is?
Thank you, Nduh, and good morning, Dennis, too. Good morning. What is happening in Okoh? And I'm met by the heading on the Standard. Too little, too late. Is that there has been a lot of bribery, voter bribery by government, and it has been recorded widely, of course, including giving speedboats in a dam, not a lake, in a dam that it's not even completed. I mean, government of Kenya mattresses, many things, gas cylinders, and many things. IEBC has not done anything about that. The only thing we saw the chairman Edekon doing last week was saying that the commission could be forced to cancel the by-election. And we were, of course, left wondering why it didn't happen at all in Malava, in Kasipul, in Bere, where violence was, widely reported. But come to your point, government, or UDA for that matter, have been, they know they are losing. And we think that the water cannons, the unprecedented number of police officers deployed to Okoh, and all these things, we believe that government is planning to now not steal the election tomorrow, but rob the election.
Why do you say that, Senator?
I say that because, we have had by-elections before. I've not seen any water cannons and that kind, and the kind of number, the number of police officers deployed. And so we are asking and requesting you, the media, both local and international, to be very vigilant and report everything that happens, because we suspect that government could actually, like they did in Gitifori polling station in Bere North, they could raid the polling stations, kick out agents, and maybe bring in, other ballot boxes and remove the ballot boxes that will have been used the whole day, and we suspect that is why there's this kind of deployment of the police and the water cannons and that kind of thing. And so we are asking you, the media, because you are the only people that can be able to monitor and report this, to be very vigilant tomorrow. Otherwise, we do not think that these police officers have been deployed to all Kalau with goodwill. The water cannons, why would you have water cannons? I mean, in a place that has not had any violence other than the violence perpetrated by the government itself. I mean, so I think it's important that we say, we ask even the international community to look at this, so that if Kenya is a democratic state and prides itself in carrying out free and fair nominations, then that should be displayed tomorrow. We want to believe that the people of all Kalau will be given an opportunity to elect their new member of parliament without any interference, especially by security forces. And we are also talking about the 1,000 police officers that the IG talked about. I want to believe are the uniformed police officers. There are so many others that have been here, that have been there in plain clothes, and these are the officers, especially those in plain clothes, that we think will be used to cause mayhem in polling stations in all Kalau tomorrow. Yes.
We look at the process that is leading towards the election tomorrow, and it has been marred with violence, intimidation, bribery. And during this entire time, as much as people have complained and called on IEBC to act, we've seen IEBC give them credit, have fined individuals, 1.5 million people for interfering with the campaigns. But one asks the question, is it enough? Should IEBC have done more? And if the answer is not satisfactory, then how do you trust that it will deliver?
Thank you. Let me say that I do not want to say that we do not have faith in IEBC, but there are things that have happened, as you have observed, Dennis, that have put the credibility of IEBC into question. And to answer your question, it's not enough, because look at the situation on the ground. It is not Gikaria who has been bribing voters. It's Gikaria only confessed how much he had spent. There are so many others from the government side that have been distributing this cash. But most fundamentally for me would be, have you taken action against the UDA candidate whose agents, and in this particular case, the government, has been openly bribing voters? I saw Chairman Edekon lamenting about, deployment of cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries to all Kalau. He actually confessed that was wrong. It was against, or it is against the electoral, code of conduct. What action has IEBC taken against the CSs who are there, the PSs who are there campaigning, in contravention of the law? What has IEBC done? What IEBC has done is to pick soft targets. Pick Mheshimiwa Gikaria, and show that you are doing something, and then fine him. If this is somebody who confessed to have spent about 2 million in one particular meeting, when you fine him, you say you fine him, is it 2.5 million? That's pocket change. We would have wanted to see IEBC take action against the real culprit, who is government. Through CSs, PSs, and that kind of thing. Otherwise, like the standard has observed, it's too little, too late. Even, fining Honorable Gikaria 2.5 million. It's a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it seems as though the elephants are fighting and the grass is suffering here. So the people of all Kalau, before that, nobody paid them any mind, really. Yeah. It's interesting because they did have a member of parliament. That's why we're in this whole thing in the first place.
Yes.
But it seems that the very little was done in terms of ensuring or securitizing their livelihoods as is mandated by the Constitution of Kenya, and that now they're met with all of this, and I think that they sit in a corner sometimes and they wonder, okay, so what's going on here? It seems like it's a high stakes game, not for Kenyans but for people who want to flex political muscle right now. How do we get away from that, Senator? Because it's almost embarrassing to see how people have rather behaved in the last couple of weeks over a by-election, which normally you would have a by-election and nobody would so much as sniffle because nobody realized. But this is very clear that the elephants are fighting and that the grass is going to suffer.
Yes, Nduh, it's true, and it's embarrassing that, we are doing these things, baptizing them as, development, only when a member of parliament has passed on. I mean, it's very sad. We are Africans, and we would not want to be seen to be like taking advantage of death in any way. But I think the other thing that our people, I think we need to carry out massive, civic education amongst in the population, because I mean, people should ask themselves, for example, the members of parliament that have been deployed to Okoh, talking about even inspecting some now development projects and promising the people of Okoh that should they elect the UDA candidate, then this development will be brought even in a bigger, way and measure. But our people should ask themselves, especially where these members of parliament or National Assembly parliament come from. Have you been able, are the programs that you are inspecting and, flouting in Okoh, are they being done in your constituency? So that we put heat, we put them on heat at home. Because if you are in Okoh, for example, from a neighboring constituency, and you are there, launching development projects, even, accompanying the PAs while, bringing in transformers, bringing in speedboats in a dam that is not complete. I mean, the people at home, your constituents, should put you, on focus and ask you hard questions. These things you are promising in another constituency, you are launching in another constituency, you have not done them here. This is an embarrassment. So that any time there's a by-election, and I'm going there to campaign for the candidate of government, if I'm in government, then I should see to it that the things that I'm promising people there and giving them out there have been delivered at home. So that if it has not been done, then they call me out for what I am. And that is a hypocrite and, an opportunist who maybe wants to... what happens, Dennis, Nduh, is that sometimes, people in government, sometimes, when they collect about, say, 3 million to go and, do something for the people, including what we have, the infamous empowerment, programs, somebody will go there, spend 1 million and pocket 2 million. And that is where the motivation is coming from. That's why I'm saying the electorate should put their members, their representatives to task, because they are there to make money, not actually even to support the particular candidate.
Elections, especially the by-election in Okoh, is because the members, the citizens of the constituency, rightfully so, deserve to be represented in parliament.
Yes.
Because now they don't have anyone to be there to speak on their behalf. Yes. They have not donated that responsibility to someone who will go speak for the people of Okoh.
Yes.
Now, we look at how everyone is moving as if this is a life or death situation. The people of Okoh are just saying we want to elect someone who will go to represent us in that house. Why is it seemingly a life and death situation for an exercise that is clear-cut as stipulated in the law? Why should people die? Why should people be intimidated? Why should there be massive bribery to the levels that we see today?
Thank you, Dennis. And I think that is tied to the question that Nduh asked. Why is it a battle of titans between, giants? Because this war, actually, or this particular contest, is bigger than the contestants. But unfortunately, that is what by-elections have been, even in recent history. Government wants to show And that is why you had Moses Kuria, boasting that they have invested 10 billion, not 1 billion, as we had claimed. It's because government wants to show that we are the ones calling the shots. They want to use their by-election to massage their ego and to assure people. And especially, what is happening in Kalau in particular is that, President Ruto has lost the mountain. But he wants to show the other regions in Kenya or of Kenya that he has not lost the mountain. Because, Dennis, whether you like it or not, there is just no formula of winning the presidency in this country without the Mount Kenya vote.
So is the Kalau by-election then a fight between President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua?
No. Rigathi Gachagua is not fighting. Rigathi Gachagua has just fronted a candidate.
Is it the other title?
Rigathi Gachagua does not need to prove anything. All Kalau is DCP. He does not need to prove anything. It's William Ruto who wants to prove something, that he has not lost the mountain, so that at least he can be able to garner some votes from out there, because everybody in Kenya knows that you lose the mountain or without the mountain, there is no formula of becoming president of Kenya. And to just encourage, and to help him, campaign out there, he needs to show that he still has, control of Mount Kenya, which he doesn't have. And that is why this has become a life and death matter. Otherwise, the deployment of resources, government, machinery and everything is unprecedented. Yeah.
So, Thursday, we go to the polls. That's tomorrow. The results of all of this will culminate in the voting, and then at the end of the day, you'll hear what it would be, what the result will be. Now, whether we like it or not, it's also showing the competition that rests between political heavyweights, between political parties, and more often than not, the people are forgotten. We can say here, Senator, we can pontificate and say, yes, the people must take control. But we also know that another political tool is keeping people poor, is keeping people uninformed, is keeping people uneducated, and then you can control them that way. So then I think it's a bit disingenuous of us to say then, well, the people then must hold their leaders accountable. How? This is the same leader who's coming to give you 2,000 shillings to eat on the day, essentially controls your stomach, is going to control your mind. How do we divorce ourselves from that? Because the leader that people are given, who they might vote for tomorrow, based on whatever the case may be, is who they're going to stay with for the next 1 year. How do we get away from this whole thing whereby we say that the people are responsible for who they bring into power, but whatever you're putting on the buffet has been already ordered in the kitchen?
The first thing that comes to my mind when you ask me that question is exactly what is the role of, for example, EACC. Because we should be able to question. I think one of the things that prove that somebody has engaged in corruption is, when you carry out a lifestyle audit on them. We should have, institutions that are empowered, that EACC will come in and ask, even the president himself, when he donates 2-3 million in a particular event, another one the same week, so that at the end of the week you will find that things that are reported anyway, that he has contributed about 10 million Kenya shillings, that we should be able to come out, the EACC, for example, should be able to come out and question that kind of donations, and ask the president, put him to task. How many chicken have you been able to sell this week? Because he claims, he says that he's a poultry farmer. Where do you get this kind of money? Where is this kind of money being spent in all Kalau coming from? EACC should be empowered to be able to, ask such questions.
What kind of power does the EACC need? This is their mandate. They already have the power. Or are we saying that what they don't have is the goodwill to actually say, look here, these are your people. It's the same EACC, by the way, who told us during the Bere North member of by-election last year that they had not received any information that one of the candidates perhaps had a corruption scandal to his name. Same EACC that we're now saying that they should pick up their mandate and their role. What more? Let me breathe.
Breathe.
What more do you need to do your job?
I think the problem we have, even with a very progressive constitution that was promulgated in 2010, is that we put the president in basically everything. That the president has a say as to who is elected or who is nominated to be chair of IEBC, EACC, Chief Justice, although you have the JSC. What we need to do if we want to have a serious country where the president does not interfere with other matters is to make, independent institutions truly independent and not just in paper. Because look at what happened to Cherera for example. After President Ruto took over, he influenced, even, the investigation into these particular commissioners. That if we can be able to maybe, I don't know what can be done, because we even can carry out a referendum and change the structure of our governance. So that this thing that we have been told since we are in primary school, that we have three arms of government, that we have the legislature, we have judiciary and executive, which are supposed to be independent of one another, that they really become independent. Why would the president, for example, be having the power, to appoint judges of the Court of Appeal? Supreme Court judges. Why should the president have any say whatsoever regarding who is nominated to be a commissioner at EACC, other commissions including IEBC, so that is the time we will be able to have an independent and a reasonable country. If you ask me, I can actually tell you that the other thing that we have a problem with, and this is something that I've said elsewhere, but I think is not precedented anywhere in the world. But in Kenya, we also could need what I can call a partyless state, so that then the legislature is not captured. Because what happens now, there is something called the party position with every party. So that even after elections, people campaign as Azimio, a grouping of parties as Azimio, but even before elected members are sworn in, then you find that some parties have already, the party leaders have already talked to the elected president, and they have a coalition. And the members have they have nothing else they can do other than follow the party position. So that we will never, in my view, ever have an elected member representing his people, purely the people who elected him, because there is always that party position. But if we don't have any parties, any party, in my view, it's quite rather radical. But if we have a situation where you present yourself to the electorate without any party, where there is no requirement to belong to any party, you will be able to represent your people in a very exactly your people, because you have no reference to anybody or anything else. It is what your people tell you to say that you will say. You will not look back to see what your party is saying. I think we need fundamental changes even in our constitution.
In our political chess games, as we see today, as representatives, people who've been donated at the power to the people, is the problem the political parties in terms of the how they operate, their modus operandi, and how they want to represent the people? Or is the problem the individuals who've been voted in and forgetting their roles?
Now, there's also something that we call political reality. If, for example, for the sake of argument, if you are a member of parliament for, say, KSS,
yes,
that's somewhere in Eldoret. If you go against UDA, whose party leader is William Ruto, the president, 99% chance is that you not be re-elected. So that is what makes, elected members slaves in quotes of the party that, sponsors them to parliament. So I don't think it is something very, like I've said, that would need to be looked at very radically. But you cannot be able to extricate yourself from the party and the party position. There is always a party position. If you don't toe the line by following the party position, then of course you are named a rebel. You will first of all be de-whipped from all the committees, in several committees in the House. I mean, you'll be labelled as a traitor. You'll be labelled as an enemy, and the chances of you being re-elected will be.
Do political
minimal.
parties ever pose to look at the Mwananchi position? We will have the political parties position, but there is the Mwananchi position as well on what Mwananchi expect to be done and want to be done once individuals get into that office. Say, as an example, cost of living is high. Mwananchi position is we want cost of living to reduce because these are our concerns. Does that ever feature? And if that has not featured before, then one asks the question with the new entrants into the game, what are the guaranteed assurances that Mwananchi position will matter?
Well, some parties do. The party that I belong to currently, DCP, does so. The issues that my party leader will talk about are always issues to do with Mwananchi. You'll not hear him talking about himself. I mean, it's always about, violation of human rights, cost of living. I mean, issues to do with Mwananchi. So sometimes parties do. And that's what I'm telling you, that is what DCP is doing. But most parties will talk about this particular, and let me not name them, but we have seen parties purporting to be agitating for the rights of Mwananchi as it should be. But when the party leader now sits with the president, then it is forgotten. The rights of Mwananchi, the cost of living, and we had riots. We had very many, should I call them riots against cost of living earlier in the regime of President Ruto. I mean, if you ask yourself, the people who are leading those demos, I mean, when they sat down with government today, they will talk about the good things that the government is doing. I sometimes challenge them. I mean, what happened? Did the cost of living now go down? I mean, what happened? You also for years because you wanted the cost of living to go down. But now you're telling us that government is doing great and wonderful things. I mean, what happened? Where is the Mwananchi? So sometimes it's unfortunate that sometimes parties, use the grievances of Mwananchi to an extent. But when they are approached by government and they reach an agreement or an arrangement with government, then Mwananchi is forgotten. And the next thing we hear are maybe leaders from such parties, praising government even better than those who originally belonged to government. So it's unfortunate.
Senator, how do I know? How does a Kenyan know when whatever you're selling on the day is not as a result of bad blood between the current administration and what may have happened between them and yourself in the past, and that it is really for the care of the people? How do I know that if Rigathi Gachagua is in Olkalau, for example, or that Senator John Yutu or Irungo Kangata are saying certain things, that it is actually for the betterment of the people and not as a result of a scuffle that you may have had previously?
First of all, Nduh, if you are going to talk about my party leader, the scuffle was about the people. Why he was removed as deputy president is because, and he has said it so many times, is because he thought, when he got into an arrangement with the President Ruto, he thought it was about the people. And my party leader has put it very well. He has said, but when we got there, he started, we had agreed that, for example, we will never demolish people's structures without having an alternative, place where we could take them. But when we got in, he actually was asking me to lead, the demolition of structures without, as we had agreed, an alternative settlement site and compensation. I mean, it was about the rights of people. And you saw my party leader, before he was impeached, you saw him condemning, the use of violence, the killing of Gen Zs in June 25th of 2024 and the days that followed. So it was about the people. My party leader has always been about the people, and that's why they differed, because he realized that the person that they were to take care of the interests of the people with meant or was wired for something different, and that is where they differed. So my party leader is not talking about people issues because he was impeached. He was impeached because of the party or people issues, and that is the difference between my party leader and other maybe party leaders.
Senator, one would hope that from a position where you sit as a senator, together with other members of parliament, that these are issues that will be presented before the floor of the House. For case in example, like today, IEBC is being accused of not playing by the rules. Parliament, both Senate and National Assembly, are able to summon IEBC and ask these questions. If it's police, IG can be summoned to respond to these queries. I mean, with the members who are aligned to DCP and other friends as well who sit on the floor of the House, are we seeing that these are things that will be followed through? Because we will sit here and complain, but with a body that has all the powers to oversight and to ask relevant questions, because you are the ones as well who pass these budgets, are we looking at follow-up of these problems that we are seeking to ensure that moving forward things are done as per the law?
That's a very good question, Dennis, because it's true that both houses are charged with the responsibility and they have the authority and power to oversight government, both national and the counties. But I want to tell you something. If I wanted to have the IBC summoned by any committee of the House, I would have to raise a statement, for example. Or, even a member of public is entitled to bring a petition against anything. But there is something which is a catch here. Before I present and read my statement in the Senate, it has to be approved by the Speaker. So if the Speaker does not approve it, it will not see the light of day. And that brings me to another problem that we have. And I think the Standard Group reported about it the other day, having partisan speakers of the House is a very dangerous thing. So that if my speaker is, of course, supporting government and President Ruto openly, because both speakers are, if there is something stinging to the government that I want to bring to the House in form of a statement, a petition, or even a motion, the Speaker will not approve it, and there is nothing I can do about that.
Yes. Are you saying that Parliament is powerless to the extent that the leadership of the House is stopping Parliament from doing its role?
Yes, as long as the speakers are not impartial, then Parliament is the toothless bulldog. Because a member will not bring anything to the floor of the House without the approval of the Speaker. I'll draw a statement, take it to the clerk of the House, but it has to be approved by the Speaker before it goes to the floor of the House. It is actually the Speaker that will call me to read my statement. And there is nothing I can do if he doesn't call me. I mean, it can even be on the order paper, for example, and he fails to call me and if he doesn't give me an opportunity to go through it, there's nothing I can do. And if I rise, I will quote Standing Order number 1, which says that the Speaker can make a determination in case there is no standing order that, gives clear direction about it.
If Parliament is so dissatisfied with the leadership of the House, can members of Parliament sanction the speakers and even ask for the impeachment? And if that's the case, if that's the power that Parliament has, why haven't you seen any move, even if it's a statement, even if it's a motion being pushed?
Sometimes it's
I'm just talking about the powers.
Yes. Has. Sometimes, do you know even that motion will have to be approved by the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker, for example? That is, we go back to what I told you about, parties. How is a speaker elected, for example? I can tell you because I participated in the election of the Speaker of the Senate. I mean, when we were elected, you were called to State House, a parliamentary group meeting. And the President, as the party leader, told us that I want you to elect Amason Kingi as Speaker. That is the person that I've decided will be Speaker. And that is what became of the election. The same members of the National Assembly, they were to reach Moses Wetangula. And that is why now the speakers have to be partisan. So what I'm saying is, we cannot be able to remove the Speaker of either House because of the numbers, because of the influence of the President. I mean, it's sometimes quite frustrating. So I think we need to look at the structure of our Constitution and see whether we can be able to remove the President completely. From influencing the House. Because look at this, President Ruto is the head of executive, but he's also party leader of UDA. I mean, he has gotten into an arrangement with the other parties, so many UDM, ODM, so many Ford Kenya, so many ANC or Musalia Mudavadi. I mean, and so he has control of them. So yes, he's in the executive, and ideally he should not have any control over the legislature, but he's a party leader of a party. He has members of Parliament paying allegiance to him. It's quite frustrating.
The question that we've asked over time is that whether what we see that will happen tomorrow is an indicator of what is going to happen in 2027. And that comes with the full package, whether it's high octane politics that we see right now, probably going on a few octaves more, or that whether we see the violence that has already started is indicative of what will happen in 2027, or whether we're just going to have this back and forth where unfortunately the people are forgotten except when they're being used as a political pawn. Is this what's going to happen in 2027?
We are very much afraid that this could be cascaded to 2027, but we pray that it will not be done that way. Our only hope, Nduh, is that, in 2027 we will be carrying out a general election.
Yes.
So that you may not be able to deploy 1,000 officers in every constituency. That's the difference. They are saying they have deployed about 1,000 police officers. Those are the uniformed police officers. There are many others that will be in civilian clothes. That is not something that you can be able to do with a general election, because remember, we will be carrying out elections in 290 constituencies in 47 counties, and we will be doing 6 elections at the same time. And so it may not be replicated that way, but for violence in some areas I know it will be sponsored, but then we'll also have a counter strategy. Even in Okoh we have counter strategies which I cannot reveal here.
Hopefully they'll be peaceful. We have your governor on the line right now.
Yes.
We're just going to talk with Governor Irungo Kangata at this point to let us know how things are going so far. Governor, a very good morning to you.
I'm fine.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we know that also you had a little bit of a physical injury, but we're glad to know that you're doing better. What are your thoughts, especially coming around, the violence? Your senator this morning has spoken to a fearfulness of what is to come. Are you in the same thought process?
No, I have no doubt that God willing, that for Karau will exercise their democratic rights tomorrow, and the right thing will happen. But definitely, what has been happening, not only in Karau, but also in several places, has not been good at all. when you have political meetings being disrupted by goons, people being injured, people dying. We know of the deaths in Kisumu, in Keumbu, in Kisii, and several other places. That doesn't bode well for a country. No one is supposed to die for political causes. Life is the most precious and important thing we need to have, because once you die, you die. And it is so sad that we have lost lives which can be prevented. And therefore, for me, the government has questions to answer to this state of affairs.
If we can also ask you, Governor, that rallies continue, the political, temperature is still, quite at fever pitch, and that even beyond Ol Kalou, we're getting into it proper. If you were to predict, you've made a move, that's obvious as well. How would things look going into the future? With police already saying that they're doing investigations into what happened over the weekend, are you confident that going forward, that the rule of law then will be acknowledged and obeyed?
No, I'm not. The reason being that these attacks have been many, they have been systematic, they have been repetitive. No action has been taken. Remember, there was an attack against the former deputy president in Odaya, Witima. We didn't hear any arrests. No one was taken to court. Then we had a previous attack, I think, here in a church in Nairobi. Same case. We had several other attacks, and we rarely see people being taken to court or action being taken. And even if it happens once in a blue moon, that doesn't deter consequent attacks. And most importantly, the arrest seems to target the young people down there, but the planners, those who give them money, we rarely hear them being arrested. And we have no doubt it is politicians allied to the government who are behind some of these attacks. So therefore, we have a situation where chances are going into the future, this can only escalate, this can only get worse. But of course, before they finally get better.
We want to thank you, Governor, for being able to join us this morning, and you've been very gracious in terms of giving us information. Our hope is that you do get well and fully back on your feet, and that we can actually get to the bottom of this in terms of what happened. But asante sana for this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you've heard it. He's echoed some of your sentiments this morning, Senator. Thank you for being here this morning and for sharing this conversation with us. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That the hope is that everybody is safe and that the people's voice above all of this is heard and something is done about it. We continue to engage. Asante sana, Senator.
Thank you.
Conversations continue. Good morning, folks. It's 9 a.m.
The latest.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. Education stakeholders have opposed the government's plan to establish a new task force to investigate school unrest and dormitory fires, saying previous reports have already identified the causes and proposed solutions. The stakeholders want the government to focus on implementing existing recommendations, including improving guidance and counseling, reducing examination pressure, strengthening communication between schools and students, and enhancing safety standards. Education CS Julius Ogamba had announced that the task force will be formed to collect views from across the country and submit a report within 90 days. However, groups including the Education Stakeholders Association of Kenya and the Elimu Bora Working Group saying the challenge is not a lack of information but failure to implement past recommendations. The National Parents Association has supported the task force but urged it to build on previous findings rather than start a fresh investigation. British High Commissioner to Kenya Matt Bowe says the UK government is investigating allegations of human rights violations and environmental damage linked to British Army training exercises in Kenya. Speaking in Nyanyuki, Bowe said the UK remains committed to working with Kenyan authorities to ensure accountability and support affected communities. He acknowledged concerns over past incidents involving loss of life and environmental harm, saying every case is taken seriously and investigated. The remarks come amid growing criticism from communities in Laikipia and Samburu counties over alleged impacts of the Batuk operations. Taveta MP John Bwire has urged Taita Taveta residents not to be swayed by leaders of the Linda Mwananchi faction, whom he accuses of opposing President William Ruto's administration. Bwire, in an apparent reference to Wundanyi MP Danson Mwashako, said the county has benefited from various development projects during President Ruto's nearly 4 years in office. He defended the Kenya Kwanza government, saying residents continue to benefit from its initiatives and have reason to support its re-election bid.
Najua saa hizi watu wanataka kutuletea chuki. Mtu ambaye amekujengea barabara, ni kosa gani amefanya? Hii barabara ya mtu wa Mwagodi, wale watu wanakuja saa hizi wa hapa Taita Taveta wakitukana William Ruto, wakisema wao sijui ni linda nini. The real Linda Mwananchi ni kutengeneza lami. The real Linda Mwananchi ni kutengeneza soko vile tumetengeneza soko ya Mwatunge. The real Linda Mwananchi ni kutengeneza reli, mwende mkachukue ndizi zetu kule Taveta na perege za jipe mlete hapa Mwatata. That is the real Linda Mwananchi.
And Viwandani wa the MCA Aaron Kangara Wangari and 2 other suspects have been charged before the Makadara Law Courts over an alleged violent robbery in Nairobi's Don Home area. According to the DCI, Wangari, alongside Kefo Munyoro and Zablon Kirima, is accused of attacking and robbing 3 people on 26 June before fleeing the scene. The 3 pleaded not guilty to charges of robbery with violence and were each released on a bond of 1 million shillings or an alternative cash bail of 500,000 shillings. The case will be mentioned on a date to be set by the court as investigations continue. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutuamjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament, so...
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said...
The government.
Yeah, when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So when we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You have land, Dennis. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around. Why? Tell me what is
first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very good morning to you, and thank you for keeping it here with us this morning. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and now we're getting into an energy and it's going to be an electric conversation. And why is that? Because we're going to be looking at just that, energy and electricity and the relationship that they play one to the other. We've had these conversations in isolation, but we've never had them together, and it's necessary for us to do that, because if you didn't know, your electricity bill is going to go up a good 5 shillings. But we'll talk about that in just a bit, because bomba.
Yes. And here we're talking about power. And even the bomba that you're talking about is the bomba that is owned by the Kenya Pipeline Company. Because they are the engine that has ensured that the country moves from point A to point. We talk about the economy. We talk about you being able as well to get to work today. If you're traveling to watch the World Cup as well, jet fuel, Kenya Pipeline Company is ensuring that happens. But they're also telling us that they have been managing 1,700 kilometers of state-of-the-art pipes that are enabling this product to move from point A to point B, and also just connecting Uganda, who depend on the port of Mombasa, through the lakeside city of Kisumu to get that fuel to them. So KPC is telling you that apart from that, they also invest into education of children in the country who go out and come back and plug again into this system and push the economy forward. To get more information on what KPC is doing in ensuring that you're able to move forward with the engine that is petroleum products, you go to www.kpc.co.ke, because Kenya Pipeline, bomba letu, ukwaji wetu.
Kabisa. Our conversation goes this morning into looking at how things are going to be affecting your pockets and what you're going to be able to get for it. Martin Chomba is the chairman of the Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya. Very good morning to you. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you for being here this morning. Engineer Isaac Dereva is the executive director of the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya. Isaac, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here as well. Before we get into it, Dennis has a power proverb.
Hey, power proverb. Leo tuko Libya, beautiful country. You remember Gaddafi, what he did for the country? Think about Libya today. Bond of contention, fuel, right? Sweet crude that they have. Mimi hapo mkinita milioni expert. I've just not been donated to government.
Sweet.
Oh.
You said sweet crude.
Yes. Yes. You're doing it. Let's get to the proverb. Now, the heart of a fool is in their mouth, while the mouth of the wise is in their heart. Chomba, how will you interpret it?
How I interpret that is that a fool speaks first and then thinks later, while a wise person thinks and then speaks later.
Yeah. Isaac, how do you interpret it?
I just need to first get it, because I may use it later. The heart of a fool
is in their mouth.
Is in their mouth.
While the mouth of the wise is in their heart.
Okay. I think it's just what my colleague is saying, that a fool will talk even before he digests what he's supposed to be talking about. But a wise person will even not talk what is in the heart, because actually the mouth is in the heart. For them to talk is actually what has come from the heart. Yes.
Well said.
That's how
well interpreted.
Okay. So, void of wanting to sound very intellectual, what's going on with electricity prices, for crying out loud? And we know that we're going to come and ask Martin what they're doing to make sure that the prices go up. So, villain against villain. What's going on?
Now, first of all, I am happy to get to know Chomba. And I have a colleague called Chomba again. So I was just wondering how comes my colleague was invited and he didn't come. But then he's called John Chomba. This is Martin Chomba. But interesting, I just wanted to understand that Chomba is in charge of petroleum outlets. And so he's in an association that is for the people or for the government?
It's for the people.
It's for the people.
It's an organization that basically looks at the welfare of the petroleum dealers, and then again
and the consumers,
consumers as well. And also looks at looks at where government is doing right and what they are doing wrong, and we are able to synthesize that for the common person.
Okay. Now, good enough. Now, first of all, let me start by saying the normal hype that comes between 10th and the 20th of every month is not normally true. That electricity prices have gone up by about 5 shillings. It is not true because you find there is something that is normally gazetted and is normally communicated between Kenya Power and EPRA. They normally say that this is the generation that was done using diesel last month. For example, now they were communicating. What is actually now the discussion that is on is because of the communication that happened on the generation for diesel and other parameters in June, which are normally done just maybe before 5th of July. Okay, it's normally that communication that goes from Kenya Power to EPRA. And what they say is that because of this generation, please compute the pass-through costs. The pass-through costs, I've always said, that is the fuel cost charge, is the water resource authority charge, which is WARMA, and then there is the forex charge, and then there is the inflation. Those are the variables. I will not talk about the rest because that is rural electrification and the EPRA and the VAT. Those do not vary. But now those 4 keeps on varying. I also need to clarify that inflation only varies after 6 months. What we have right now has gone for 7 months, just because we didn't do a review of the tariffs. Okay.
But what does that mean, Isaac? It's for the person who is buying tokens for 500 shillings.
Yes.
When you talk about the variance in inflation,
yes,
we don't understand that.
What you need to understand is the cost of generation every month varies, because sometimes the units we have generated using diesel or heavy fuel keeps on varying, and we cannot be charged in excess or a reduced cost. They have to do the actual. So now that cost is normally communicated every month. The total for the 4 is coming to 5.2. So that communication is what was going to EPRA. But people just hijacked the information and thought that actually now this is an additional to the bill. But if you look at what you're being charged this month, it's not going to be very different from what you were charged last month. I think the only difference is just about a bob. And actually I have forwarded a table of those, of the cost. But because I like what Martin has come at the right time, because I want to tell him that there are times, I don't know whether you are aware, and that is on the Gazette notice for July, which I have also forwarded, and I will be able to share with you later. That the Gazette notice shows that the fuel, the cost of diesel that was used in Mombasa, in Rabai, for example, was around 119 shillings. But the cost that was used in Faza Island was 400 shillings. So now, I know you are controlling and you are trying to advocate for the consumers. What are you doing about such cost that is too high and it is being loaded to electricity users?
Oh, are you asking Martin the questions, or are you answering out?
I wanted him to know that the Gazette notice for this month has come with a cost of 119 shillings for the heavy fuel oil in Rabai and Mombasa Kipevu 3, but what has gone to Faza Island is 400 shillings.
Okay,
so what is the error?
If we can dumb it down just a little bit.
Yes.
What we are saying now is that this extra cost on electricity that we are all going to have to pay in this month of July is as a result of diesel prices having gone up.
Yeah, but it's not 5 shillings.
It's how much?
Because
how much is it?
It was like, for example, in last month, to be specific, I want to read what is specific. Last month, the cost that was going for diesel was 3.14. Fuel cost charge was 3.14. This month is 3.2. Okay? Just a slight increase. For Forex is where I would complain, because it was 0.72 per kilowatt hour, and they have gone to 1.48. Of course, the dollar has not doubled.
Okay, Isaac, let's do it like this.
Yes.
If I have 1,000 shillings,
yes,
and I do the thing,
yes,
and I used to get 35 tokens.
Yes.
Now I am getting 30. Sindel.
Yeah, to be specific, you are getting in June, you are getting Nduh, because I think we have interacted with your bill so much. You are getting 36.52 last month. Right now you are getting 35.43.
So it's not 5 shillings, it's less by 1. So there's no cost for
actually the actual cost change for your tariff was 27.38 in June, is now 28.22. But I always say I am going to give you, I will let Chomba also chip in, but I'm going to give you 2 sites that you will be able to see the tariff you are in and the cost.
Now,
yes,
the assumption, Martin, is that this increased cost has something to do with fuel prices.
Fuel prices. Nduh,
yes.
Allow me first of all to say this, and I've said this countless times, and I'm glad sometimes I've been listened to, and others this is ignored. I still want to say, we've been told, or rather it is said in the learned circles, that ignorance is no defense. But I've always argued this, that who is should be more indicted? Should it be an ignorant population, or leadership that is ignorant, that it has ignorant population?
Okay.
I believe leadership that is ignorant, that it has ignorant population, should be indicted more than the ignorant population they lead. What do I mean? When in Kenya we have people who have been given responsibilities to articulate some of these issues, I think it's incumbent upon them to appreciate that we do not all come from the school of thought of engineers and such. That you see the things that Mr. Ndereva is talking about, because he has been socialized in this industry for so long, it is very easy and he understands them. But when they come, if you look at what Nduh is trying to say, is that how do I interpret this as a common person in a very, very simple language? I would not mind if they went to the media and even interpreted these kind of findings in languages that are indigenous, so that people do not sometimes have panic, which occasions some of the national distress that we find ourselves grappling with from time to time. Suffice to say that the communication dockets of these ministries and departments have a problem when it comes to dispensing information in the right manner that Kenyans can understand and appreciate. Having said that, I wish to say that it is true, the question that you are asking about the Faza Island and such, that the premise upon which we discuss or look at how petroleum products are costed in this country is the domain of EPRA. EPRA, if you go to EPRA page yesterday, they published the prices of fuel, diesel, super petrol, and kerosene across the country. They have costed all that. So we have nothing, as from where I sit, I don't have the ability or the mandate to decide or to influence how those costs are done, because those costs are done in an empirical manner. They do a research and they are certain and say, in Kisumu, diesel will be this much because of this cost. In Faza Island, it will be this much because of this much. The problem we have with the independent power producers and other organizations that are not in selling product to the common person is that these contracts are not guided by those pump prices that EPRA announces every day, every 14th. So if you come to my petrol station today, I cannot sell diesel above what EPRA decided yesterday. But if you go to these independent power producers, they have their own arrangement, because this pump price does not govern
their own arrangement
how they buy.
With whom?
With their suppliers of
procurement system.
The procurement system.
Sounds
so they'll
illegal.
put in things.
Is EPRA not for everybody?
EPRA is a regulator. It's supposed to be a regulator for everybody. But the prices that they regulate for us, the ones that they announce every 14th, is specifically for the pump price. If you look at it, they call it the pump price. So it does not involve the individual contracts of suppliers. There are organizations, say like industries industries in here in the industrial area, there are those who use diesel. That price, the pump price, is not a regulation to that, how they buy. That is left to the contract that the suppliers have with those industries. And this applies also to the independent power producers. They have their own procurement system with their suppliers of diesel, because we know they use diesel. But we are not, it is not in the public domain that they buy diesel at this much.
Wait, Chomba, what I'm hearing you say...
Dennis is very surprised.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that is the truth, but Dennis will ask something.
Because my question is, EPRA is telling Wananchi that the cost of diesel that you will buy is at X amount at the pump, right? EPRA, is it EPRA ministry? Imports fuel into the country. Power producers as well import fuel into the country, right? Import diesel that they will use to produce
Or rather
power.
they buy imported diesel.
Imported diesel, right? And that is not controlled by EPRA. They're not subjected to what it is you are subjected to.
I'm saying I am not aware of a control by EPRA on how independent power producers procure their diesel. They have their own systems of procurement of diesel.
They are not regulated by
They are not regulated the way we regulate pump prices. And so this, in my thinking, is a serious loophole where they can cost the price of diesel in a way that it takes care of so many things. You know, in business we can take care of so many costs.
I like the way you're doing the air quotes. Just say extortion.
because we say that any prudently incurred costs should be compensated, and sometimes those prudent costs can vary, if you know what I mean.
So, Lebeba, how does lack of regulation affect the end cost of power that is being now sold to Kenya Power or EPRA
to the
for
consumer?
distribution? Yes.
Actually, it's not so. The fuel cost does not affect Kenya Power or KenGen at any one point, because it's a direct pass through to consumers. It's normally calculated every end of month, and they pass through. So Kenya Power says, this is the generation that we got from this point, and so it's communicated to EPRA. Number one, which I find a big loophole, it is not Kenya Power that is supposed to communicate to EPRA about the generation, because generation has been done by the producers. These are just distributors. Okay, that is number one point. So EPRA should find a way to get the readings directly from the generator.
IPPs,
That is number one. Number two, I am quite aware that they do not regulate heavy fuel oil or industrial diesel oil. And we normally have like 5 of the major, like if you talk of Arabai, Kipevu 3, you talk of Thika Power, Triumph Power, and Iber Africa or something like that. And then Muhoroni. Those ones they don't regulate. And if you look at the price, it is actually 119 just around there. But now there is another problem when you have diesel, because those are IPPs. Let me start there. Those are IPPs. There are other generators in Madeira, Faza Island, and those others, which are, I think, 30 of them. Those are owned by government. But now, those owned by government is because it's a generator of about 1 megawatt, like in Madeira, in Kakuma, or whatever. Now, those ones are owned by government. But now, it is the government that allows people to...
So you know me, I like pictures.
Yes.
So a lorry, truck brings a tank of fuel.
Yes.
From Mombasa.
Yes.
From Mombasa.
Yes.
And it is, where did you call it?
Faza Island.
Faza Island. Yes.
And also
in Lamu.
And then there's also, where did you call the other place?
Kakuma. And Madeira.
Same fuel.
Same batch of fuel.
Okay.
Yes.
Landed cost everything the same for this lorry.
Yes.
In Kakuma.
It's the same that he's been given.
Let me talk of the gazetted fuel in Madeira is perhaps 280. Okay.
Let me
For
just go
example,
back to
just
this
that
picture.
petrol station outside that generation plant.
Isaac.
But now just the next door is 400.
Isaac.
Okay. Yes.
So whatever the landed cost was, we finished with that.
Yes.
We go to Kakuma.
Yes.
We sell it per litre at whatever, 400 whatever. The same tank is selling in Faza at 400, 500, 600.
Yes.
Why would there be that disparity when you paid the same thing for the entire lot, but then you decide to offload it for different prices to other people? Because you know who gets the short end of the stick here? It's the end user.
The end user. In fact, to bring it closer to for the listeners to understand, you are in Lamu, Faza Island.
Yes.
You want to fill your tank, you want to fill your lorry. Your boat, for example, with the diesel. You buy at, for example, 250.
Yes.
But just the next 5 meters where the generation plant is, they are buying at 400. What does that mean? That actually could be that petrol station that actually is now, you're buying there and feeding it to that just 2 meters or 5 meters, and then you load 400. That is what we are saying, the height of irregulation, where EPRA just buries the head in the sand and allows that cost to come to the end user, who is the consumer, in electricity prices.
So, Martin, the thing that you did not want to say was extortion. So I can say, so now,
is a word.
Is that the word now that you would be talking about when we say that this same thing is being sold across board and the profits that people are then getting are really crazily high?
You see, I cannot appreciate that in a time, an economy that we run, where we talk about regulation, that I can actually go and generate power and decide my costs and communicate that cost to Kenya Power, then the Kenya Power in turn communicates to EPRA, and then EPRA charges the common person. Because you've given me a free check. You've given me an open check. I can decide what my costs are. And so if we talk about regulation, we must regulate all the way. We must regulate every aspect of production so that EPRA bears the full responsibility whenever such things happen. Otherwise, they cease to be people who regulate. They become people who announce costs.
Yes.
And that's a big difference.
Isaac, so if I bought fuel at 400 bob in Faza, mimi niko Faza, right?
Yeah.
And I'm purchasing power that is generated from the
Faza petrol station,
from the generation
power station.
Power station. What does that mean to my tokens when I'm buying it while in Faza?
Thank you, Dennis. I want to clarify here that the cost of power is not as per the region. They take that power, that cost of buying that fuel. They don't charge to the people in Faza. They bring it here to Kenya Power so that it can charge everybody. So watagawanya such that you are paying for Faza. Where you are seated there, you are paying something for Faza. So the 400 shillings is affecting you.
So that means where if regulation was happening where they're buying that fuel at say 250 and produce generate power at an affordable price. If I am buying today say 500 for 35 because of additional costs in Faza, I am not getting 35, I'm getting 32, 30. Because of additional charges in Faza that ought not to be there. Okay.
So now that is what we are saying, that don't think that people in Faza are the one who are suffering. They bring that cost wholesome. They do a whole average for all Kenyans who are actually almost 9 million or 10 million users. Kila mtu analipa kadogo. And that's why we are saying, if you see as 3.2 shillings, can you multiply that by the total units which are sold? And right now we are playing around 1.2 billion units to 1.3 billion units. So that cost of those are kilowatt hours. So you multiply the 3 point something, multiply by those units. So we are talking about the fuel cost charge was around 4 billion every month.
I want us to take a break. Then I want to come to Martin so that we can understand something about where these prices go. But if what you're saying is the case, then why is it, if everybody pays kidogo, then why don't we have one unit cost for tokens across board, whether you live in Runda, whether you live in Joska, whether you live in Faza? Why?
No, the cost is the same throughout.
It's not.
The only difference is
buying tokens. I get 36.
The only difference
is getting 51.
The only difference is because the classification. You could be in Faza and you are actually paying cheaper than your neighbor in Faza.
That is my question. If we are all adding money, why are you classifying the cost of the unit?
Now that is I don't know how much time we have before break, because I wanted you to
let's take a break, then you come and answer that, because you must answer that question.
I must
answer. If we are saying that everybody is paying a little bit, it's like a sacco. It's like a sacco, we're all putting something inside. Then you come and tell me that your loan you'll take at 2%, you'll take at 18%. Why?
I will explain.
Why do you classify us?
Because we are socialists when it comes to
me. Give me power.
Let's take a break. This one we'll get the answer to today, because people want to know. All right, Martin and Isaac are here this morning. We'll continue after this. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
All right, so traffic still on the Thika Superhighway this morning, causing quite a pain for some people today. That we're getting some of that traffic coming in from Outer Ring, heading out towards the Thika Superhighway. That's busy. Kangunda Road has some traffic, and as you get into the CBD today, you're getting onto the Globeston roundabout area with some traffic going towards Kirinyaga Road, the rest of it going towards Moy Avenue. Ngong Road is busy. A little bit of that traffic still continues as you come in from that place where there's the additional road. There's still some traffic there, guys. Surprise, surprise. You'll all have to sit through that with a little bit of patience. We'll keep an eye on things as they go through the day. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We continue our conversations this morning, and Martin and Isaac are here with us because we're looking at the relationship between power and energy. But then this classification story, it's bothered people for a long time, that with your 1,000 shillings today, there's some people in some areas that are getting 51 units. And on the same 1,000 shillings, there's some people who are getting 36 units. Or now 35, different from last month. I'm just looking at the projections which you have sent. Why?
Okay, now, just wanted to clarify that when it comes to pass-throughs, it is the same.
Pass-through?
Pass-throughs is, for example, fuel cost charge, EPRA, Warma, Forex. Those costs which we are saying are 5, which are gazetted every month, the one that people are saying it's 5, that communication they picked, they thought is an increment. That is the same for everybody. Everybody pays that cost. The only difference is now when it comes to the base tariff, the money that is paid to Kenya Power that is not passed through, that is where we have a classification. Now, I would want to guide the listeners and even the people who are in this studio that you can go to the Kenya Power Self-Service. It's Kenya Power Self-Service. Go to Google. Kenya Power Self-Service.
Are you asking? Okay.
Yes, I want us to do that because the listeners want to understand.
Okay.
Go to your Google, type Kenya Power Self-Service. Yes. Have a token meter number in mind or somewhere. Okay. You may copy from what you pay. You have your meter number? Yeah. You can copy it from your phone book. Let us do slowly because this is going to sort out a lot of problems. Okay, so the first thing is that you go and the copy. I'm sure most of the people have got them in the phone book. So token, mine I have typed as token. I go and copy that big number. Once I copy, then I go to the website that I have said. It's called, in my Google, is KPLC Self-Service. Okay? Then you open that self-service.
Yes.
It's a modification of the My Power app that was working, but it's now not working. So then you go to, you can see the website has opened something called the Apply for Electricity Bill Meter Search. Have you seen search?
I'm just seeing my meter details and history.
No, but we said you go to Kenya Power Self-Service.
We have people who are there.
You're there. Then you have opened and seen Apply for Electricity, Bill Meter, and that change account name. Have you been there? Then go to the Bill Meter Search.
Yes.
Once you go to the Bill Meter Search, can you paste that number there and search? You'll say meter number. Please don't select the account number. Select meter number. Then search. Have you been able to see where you have been?
Do you see something?
Yes.
You've seen that you are in DC what?
I am seeing from 6 to the last time I bought my tokens.
Yes, but it is written tariff domestic ordinary what?
DC2.
DC2.
Yeah.
So that means you are in DC2. I don't know, Chomba would be in the certain DC.
No, me, I'm looking at the common person listening.
Yes.
Understanding what that DC2 means.
Okay.
In a very synthesized language.
Okay. The DC, DC1, DC2, DC3 is domestic consumer. DC is domestic consumer who is not exceeding 30 units per month in consumption.
Now you're coming home.
Yeah. DC, what is written at DC1 is those who are not exceeding 30 tokens per month.
Okay.
DC2 are people who are exceeding 30 but not exceeding 60.
Okay.
Okay. Then DC3 are people consuming beyond 100.
Okay. And how do you find this information? I have to have used power first for you to classify me?
Yeah, you will have to use your power for 3 months.
It's not because of where I am.
No.
Because my neighbor could be running a factory.
Yes.
and they pay significantly more in terms of tokens, or rather they receive less tokens for the same amount that we pay.
Yes.
So you have to have used it first before you're classified. Is that what you're saying?
You have to use for 3 months. Now, what I am telling people,
who pays more now? Is it the DC1?
Okay, now
DC2,
that's
or
where we
DC3?
are going. That's where we're going. Now, from there, go to the website again on Google. Then you type steamer tracker. That should be easy for you. Steamer tracker. Okay. Have you seen something called steamer tracker? Kenya. Steamer tracker Kenya. You will see it leads you to electricity costs in Kenya.
Steamer tracker.
Yes. It leads you to electricity cost in Kenya. Okay. Once you press that electricity cost in Kenya, you will be able to see the various costs down there. Okay. You will be able to see this is DC, this is DC1, this is DC2, and then you will see the cost for each. And you will see that the pass-through, if it is a fuel cost charge, is the same for all. Okay? And that is what we were saying here.
Yeah, the variables, yeah.
The variables.
Now
so if you need to see the DC3, DC1, DC whatever, the price will keep on changing.
Okay.
Yes.
So in an easy language, Nduh, the person in DC1
yes
pays less or higher.
They pay less in June.
So if you're getting less tokens
yes.
for the same amount of money,
yes.
it means maybe you are in DC2 or DC3.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that is the language I'm sure the common person out there is waiting for, because they might not be able to synthesize this.
So now, Martin,
yes.
when we see that prices have gone up, because these are conversations that happen in isolation, but they're also conversations that happen in concert. So now when we are saying that, oh my goodness, I get less for my token, because before they removed the charges, remember before we used to have all of those charges that would show what it meant, and we would all be up in arms and ask, oh my God, all these taxes on this thing. That's why I spend 1,000 shillings, but 68 of it goes towards these taxes, which they still do. They just don't show us where it goes anymore. Now, some of that is an energy cost. Amma?
Yes, exactly. 3 shillings, point something is fuel.
It's fuel. So it's not just at the pump, but then it's also distributed everywhere else. So when people are up in arms, by the way, obviously we know that the Strait of Hormuz has been closed yet again indefinitely, because these guys can't seem to figure out the issue. But that has happened, and that is probably going to see us with higher cost. Maybe not now, because we're already past this time, but then later. So when you talk about just announcing fuel prices, these things have already been taken into consideration. What do you suspect would happen in the next 3 months if this fiasco continues?
Thank you. That's a question that we are really discussing within our circles, because, like I said, the world has to find a way of moving past the Strait of Hormuz issues. It is very uneconomical, or rather it is not very prudent for the countries around the world to be enjoying fuel at the benevolence of peace at the Strait of Hormuz. And we know by now that Iran will always use the Strait of Hormuz to solve their geopolitical issues with whoever it is. That today it is US, tomorrow it might be Europe, but we can be sure of that. And so if you look at it, in the last 1 month, I expect actually in August 14th, the prices of fuel to be cheaper. Because in the last 1 month, we had even gone below, the crude had gone below the pre-Iran war crisis prices. And so, now that the prices have started shooting up, you realize something that is very different. When the war broke in March, the prices went up exponentially, so bad that we went to 100, 110, 120. But now, when they closed yesterday but one, you see the surge is up to around $80 from around 72. This means that the world has weaned itself off the Strait of Hormuz reliance. And if you look at what is happening, including the arrangements like OPEC, some countries are feeling like now this is no longer tenable. We may want to chart our own costs. We may need to regulate how much fuel we do, like output into the system, and so forth and so forth. So what I'm seeing is that we are getting to a place where there's going to be a bit of predictability, and the oil is not going to be allowed to be such a disruptor of the world economy. If you look at every other major economy around the world, is organizing their energy and especially their petroleum issues, so such that it's not, because what we have had, there's this principle we call complex interdependency, where we rely on each other. You'll find like US today, being the largest producer of petroleum, they still import a lot of petroleum from other countries for economic reasons, balance of trade, and all those kind of things.
Also, plus they want to keep the reserves for themselves for later.
Yes. That's true, but it's not the major issue. most of the times, balance of trade and such. We don't want to get to the situations where you remember, the students of history will tell you there's a war that was called Opium War between the England and China, because England had nothing to sell to China, yet they were buying a lot of tea from China, and they forced them to buy their opium. You got to buy something from us, and the only thing we have is opium, and there was serious war. So because of balance of trade, you'll find that a lot of countries, they are buying fuel across. You have yours, but you're still buying. China has, it still imports. So you'll find now people around the world, economies around the world, have started organizing their energy sufficiency and security around their borders, such that it will be, look, for instance, if Kenya, we go through with the drilling that we're doing up here, and then Dangote's thing is done, the refinery is done, Kenya might not be susceptible to those shocks, as it were, because we'll have our own. So you'll find that it will be very easy to get resolve energy crisis around the world. So likewise, I feel our power, we have to make deliberate and conscious effort to win ourselves dependency on these costs that we are talking about, because everybody today is selling efficiency. Even industries, media houses, everybody is selling efficiency. We cannot be operating with systems that are open-ended, that I can give the cost that I want, and then I expect the common person to be okay with that when we are telling everybody to be efficient. I like EPRA because I give credit where credit is due. They have passed a regulation the other day that bulk energy users can now procure power independently without necessary
electricity.
Electricity. Malls and those guys who use a lot of petroleum, they a lot of energy, they can procure that, and that's a step towards the right direction. And I believe
they can procure directly.
No, actually, if you're talking about electricity, that's not, they have, it's like the way you normally say Kenya Power is not monopoly, but it is monopoly by a situation of monopoly. Why I'm saying that is that if you have said that EPRA has allowed anybody to buy power from Orkaria, that's what you're saying. Where is the way live? Who will distribute power and bring to someone consuming 200,000 if you have all not agreed around? You have to agree, most of you, such that it will make economic sense to bring. That's why I said it was approved and it was passed, but that is not practical.
What I mean is, it starts from somewhere.
It starts from somewhere, but it's going
that
to be
conversation now starts from somewhere, because the minute now you decentralize the distribution of power at some point, it means now I can look for money, organize myself, and create a system. Okay, but before there is a regulation, before you are allowed to do that, it's very constrained. You cannot even think towards that. So what I'm saying is that we are now facing. You see, if we say we want to go to Mombasa, we must face south. Even if you are not moving, we face south.
Show your intent.
So, so now what I'm saying is that EPRA has faced south. And so it is now for us to organize our vehicles and whatever the economy, because now those regulations are what now attracts investors, is what attracts people to come now and say, look, there's an opportunity here that we can invest in. So that is what I'm lauding EPRA for.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, and I thought
Isaac, allow me to ask this question. Also, we will get down to the nitty-gritty so we can understand. And one of the things about we sometimes complain without knowledge, right? Now, the source of power for Kenya is largely hydro. at the moment? No. What is it?
It's a geothermal, which is
geothermal.
giving 45%.
Okay, 45%.
Yes.
Hydro is how much percent?
Hydro is about 25%.
25%. Okay, so that, I mean, it's about half that we're talking about.
You know, hydro, you're not able to increase because the sources are the same.
Okay.
But for geothermal, we still have 10,000 megawatts.
All right, and some of that is unused.
We have only tapped less than 1,000.
There you go.
Yes.
It's unused power, and Kenya is in contracts at the moment for the next, 20 years for that power, used or not, right?
Yes.
Now, this hydropower is where the energy Martin's people come in, is to run the generators for this power.
For hydro.
I'm asking.
No, for hydro.
Where does the energy that we are speaking about come into play on our bill?
Okay. Now we have different sources of power in Kenya. We have geothermal, we have wind, we have hydro, we have biomass around Naivasha, which is only 2 megawatt and not producing anymore. We have solar in Selencain in Eldoret. But then we have diesel, which is now what we are saying about Mandera, Kakuma, Faza Island, by the Kenyan government, which has given Kenya power because they have their own chiefs and the DOs and the DCs there, and they still want power. So Kenya Power told them provide for this. But then the consumers to pay for fuel. Which consumers? Distributed for the whole country. But then we have independent power producers. Those I don't have much of a problem because they are using independent diesel oil or heavy fuel oil, which is not regulated, and that's what we are saying. Kenya, EPRA must regulate. But even the ones they are regulating, which is low sulfur diesel, which is consumed by our lorries and some big cars, Prados, it is the same diesel that is used by those generators. So if we are buying that diesel at 250 in Mandera for a Prado there, even the generating plant that is there should be able to use the fuel at 200 and something, and not 400. That is the oil that we are talking about.
Because it's just the water question. Because I've seen a comment here to then understand, and people are talking about, oh well, our dams were full all this whole time. Like I remember when they said there would be power rationing because the dams were operating at below capacity. How does that affect things today?
Okay. Now, what happens is when we don't have enough, they scored a lot of water in the dams. And remember, we don't only have the Seven Fox dams. We also have Takwell, we have others, even small hydros. When we have low water supply in terms of running the turbines, some people confuse that those turbines need diesel. No. It is the water that runs those turbines.
Got it.
If we don't have sufficient water, then it means the Kenya's demand, if it was like 2,500 megawatt in Kenya, you have to find a way to supplement because you don't want some people to go without power. So that is the time you bring in the standby diesel generators. So
what happens when there is an excess amount of water for a long period of time, like there was with the flood?
The diesel power producers will still be paid.
That's what I'm saying. These contracts that you get into, even if you're not using that power source, these folks are still being paid, and the whole lot of us have to keep paying them.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify something because we are going
contracts
to
demand so.
The contract. Let me tell you what happens. The contract, the amount of money. I will talk about Rabai, for example. We normally Kenya Power normally pays Rabai, for example, 4 shillings for every unit produced. Okay. Whether it is produced or not, they have to be paid the 4 shillings.
I don't even know who's sat at the table.
The problem is, Nduh, is that when actually it has been running, that time that has run for 2 hours, the fuel used did not have a contract with Kenya Power for 4 shillings. That is now what is loaded to consumers. This more 4 shillings, we have no problem because it was discussed with Kenya Power and they signed a contract. But now on the fuel cost that is passed to consumers directly, that is the one we are complaining about.
I have a simple question. Yeah?
Yes.
So places like Kakuma and Mandera that you're talking about, or Faza Island, is because the grid where then that is being produced using hydro or geo has not got into those places.
Yes. It's not economically viable to transmit from Nairobi to Mandera.
From Nairobi to Mandera. So the option is to use thermal power.
Standby.
Thermal power, right? Yeah. So one asks the question then, how do we bring the people of Mandera and Kakuma to affordable power so that all of us do not suffer? Because at the end of the day, where is equality in supply of power to the people of Mandera if everyone else is to suffer?
The unit of generation in Mandera for 1 kilowatt hour
could be 50 shillings, 60 shillings. But would it be fair to charge them like that? Because those places will be deserted. So the best way is to take that cost and reintegrate them within the total consumers in the country, so that kila mtu alipe kakitu
still at a higher price.
So that even if you are here, umeenda Mandera, you want to sleep in a hotel, it is not expensive because you have gone to the wrong place. That is how they have done. But I had like Chomba wants to say something.
Yes, I wanted to say, I had somebody say the other day saying that they be allowed to brag. Allow me to say I'm a student of development studies
brag.
At the PhD level. And there is a concept in development that was developed by an American sociologist called Peter Evans. It's called embedded autonomy. Embedded autonomy talks about the balance. It explains why, using the same market concepts, some countries have gone very far, others have found themselves even being industrialized, whereas have really industrialized, the likes of Singapore and such. So we call it autonomous, embedded autonomy, which means there need to be, in a normal day, we say that the government must pull off from the markets. Kabisa, from the market, to let the industry thrive. But we say they must also possess a very competent bureaucracy that is not beholden to the political class or does not have interest in the business, such that they are able to make regulations without looking at themselves, without looking at the political benefits, such that it is for the benefit of the country. This is what we have had with what we call the Asian tigers. Then we also need a government that is also competent enough to make sure that they give the requisite template for development. They provide, if it's road, they are able to provide road. They are able to provide power. Now, what we need in this country, because it's not just about electricity, is that we must have a bureaucracy, a government bureaucracy that is competent enough, and they are not beholden to the political patronage. Because as long as that is happening, because we can discuss the what we are discussing here, but it just takes one political statement or one call from a different office, and all that which has been discussed, because Kenya is not devoid of serious, competent bureaucrats. We have so many of them in those offices, but the problem is what they advise taken seriously, and that's why I am saying, and I will continue to say, that this country, our future, is in the hands of the critical mass. The day we shall attain critical mass of people who are able to ask questions, not make noise, ask questions that demand answers that are not, not those answers that you give, That is the day we shall get somewhere. And that's why some of us have taken an initiative. Like now, in September, towards the end of September 29th and 30th, we are holding a conference. It's called Afri-Fueling Conference. It's to discuss everything at KICC that concerns petroleum. It is free for Kenyans. You don't pay nothing. You come and learn everything there is to learn about petroleum, so that once we attain critical mass of people with the knowledge about the industry, then it becomes very hard for people to treat energy cost and petroleum costs as if it is national defense
You've talked
budget.
about monopoly.
Yes.
One of the issues that have existed in this country is that Kenya Power enjoys a monopoly, and therefore they can tend to set prices at whichever price they want. In terms of opening the market, is that a way for Kenya to go, so that different power producers get in and compete with Kenya Power for pricing?
Not producers, different power
generators. Yes, distributors. Yes.
Because the producers may remain the same, just like the way we are saying that they have allowed Kenyan to sell to whoever they want, which is okay. But I'm saying in terms of the well-lived problems and the economical viability, for you to take power, let's assume, for example, now we don't have power in Magadi. Okay, you have established that the first point you have customers is Magadi. They need your power, but you need to transmit that from Morukaria to Magadi. First of all, the cost of construction of infrastructure is too high. Yet the people who want in that locality are going to be generating like 200,000 per month. Are you, as an investor, going to find that viable? So there must be a way in which the government will make it easy, such that it owns the infrastructure, then the different players can come and use the same. But right now, Kenya Power is ahead because the infrastructure they acquired was assisted by the government by different presidents. And if you now bring in other players, they will not have the same advantage. So that's why we are saying for Dennis Aseto to get power from other people other than Kenya Power, that is likely to be in 2070. Yet we will still have that regulation. But since we are coming to the end of the show, let me announce this because I think that is what was mentioned. First of all, is that there is no power price increase by 5 shillings.
It's by
only
1
the the pass-through cost that changed, and they only increased by about a shilling from the previous. So even the units that you were getting the previous month have reduced by a single unit. Okay, we are saying that as electricity consumers advocates. So we are not saying that on behalf of Kenya Power. Number 2, we were supposed to have a tariff review control period. From 2023, we are supposed to have another one in 2026. So this July 1st, we are supposed to have a new tariff. Actually, it was supposed to be in April.
Can't these tariffs ever be reviewed downwards?
They have never been. But that is the application that was done. Let me start this way. The application that was done by Kenya Power to EPRA was done. And then we got a wind of what they were talking about. They were exorbitant and too high. Yet we had already put our proposal that power prices are supposed to go down.
The one that were put on hold?
Yes. Okay. They were put on hold because we said power price is supposed to go down by 5 shillings. They withdrew, and it's actually the CS who said we have withdrawn. I don't know for how long they have withdrawn, but you can be sure they may not review anything before the elections in 2020.
Dereva, is there a point where power generation has been lower, but prices have remained being high, and why is that?
The power prices are constant, whether there is uptake or not. Is only when that you would have too much generation using diesel. That is the only time the pass-throughs will make it higher. But what I'm talking about, the review, is the base tariff, not the pass-throughs. The base tariffs are the same as they were set in 2023. That's why I normally say, when you say the cost of power has gone up by 5 shillings, that is not true, because the cost of power has been set for 3 years.
Isaac,
and when they wanted to change,
don't care whether it's the pass-through.
The problem is that the common person does not understand pass-through.
Shillings
and I'm getting
I get 2 units, that's what matters.
Okay, this is Kenya Power's problem. They were supposed to actually educate Kenyans. We are taking it up as a society to ensure that Kenyans will be educated slowly, because even Kenya Power, they normally have this bill to educate Kenyans. EPRA has this budget to educate Kenyans. Even the ministry
my
should be able
beef.
to do the,
That's my beef,
but they
because
don't give
there's
us
a
that
budget
money. We
for
have been
that.
coming here on our own. The moment we start getting support from Norway and other countries that have expressed interest in supporting us for that education, they will face the music.
Okay, well, at the end of they have a budget for communication and they don't use it. These things that we're talking hearing about, at the end of the day, if my pocket
They are
feels
taking
a
it to
little bit of
Okoh.
pressure,
And Kenyans should expect lower fuel prices in August 14th. That's the way it ought to be.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's the way it
Same
ought
way
to
I said 5 shillings less.
Engineer Isaac Dereva is the Executive Director of the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya. Martin Chomba, Chairman of the Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Thank you for being in the Situation Room this Wednesday. Tomorrow's D-Day. Well, let's talk again tomorrow and have a good rest of the day. Yolanda comes in at 11 o'clock with Sugar and Spice and everything nice. Good morning. It's 10 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The IEBC has dismissed claims that it is biased towards the government, insisting it will conduct the 2027 general election impartially.